retro toys and comics we adore. TV and movies, let's explore. Sunday Night Geekery, it's the place to be. With Marc D, with a C, let your nerd run free. Old school vibes and stories untold. Tune in, tune out, let the magic unfold.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sunday Night Geekery. Yes, it would help if I unclick the mute button, right? Geez, I boomered it only a few seconds into the stream, but that's what everyone likes to hear, right? I hope you can hear me. So, yep, we've got Memorial Day weekend, so I got to get up early for the parade tomorrow. So, famous last words. We're not going to go as late as we usually do. We'll see. That last time Dadman was here, we all laughed at that one. But let's say hi to everyone who's rolling in. So hail to the great Brian Hepburn. Hey Brian, great to see you. And Claude Salling is here. Hey Claude. And Daniel Barry is here. And I'm sure you've got some highlights on your channel for the Knicks actually won a game. Inconceivable. So yeah, I was watching movies tonight with the kids and hanging out with the family, but had that on the little screen. But yeah, the Knicks actually pulled off a win, I think, for the first time in Indiana. But yeah, I'm not a huge pro basketball fan. Follow college more closely, but Knicks haven't been in it so long. It makes it a little bit interesting around here. Yep, especially for everyone in the New York area. Yep. And hail to Phantom Outsider. Great to have you here, Phantom. So yeah, so I hope everyone's enjoying the holiday weekend. Of course, it's Memorial Day. It's to remember all those that sacrificed their lives in the USA so we can have our freedom. So it's not a day to thank veterans per se. It's a day to remember the sacrifice that people have made so we can be free and not speak German. So and of course many other wars and actions, of course, but that was the last really big one. But thankfully, but yeah, just people giving the ultimate sacrifice. It's hard to fathom sometimes how brave people are and how selfishly they act. So God bless them all. And yeah, that's the Memorial Day is kind of turned into which is okay in some ways, barbecue picnic and shopping and things like that. But you got to take the time to remember why there is a Memorial Day, and it is a solemn holiday. And we have a parade down our small little main street in our tiny little part of our town, where our town is separated, has like villages, if you want to call it. So we always have a Memorial Day parade, and like the local groups and the Boy Scouts and the Boys and Girls Club and the softball team and baseball team, youth sports. The Utes will march and carry flags, and you've got veterans marching, of course, as well. And nice little parade. And then at the end of the parade in the town park, we've got someone recites the Gettysburg Address, and what an amazing speech that is. Talk about not having to have go overboard. Brevity is a soul of wit, as Shakespeare said. So one of the shortest speeches, but one of the most remembered one. And of course, in that speech, it says, no one will long remember what words we say here today, but how wrong Lincoln was on that. But I think the person that spoke before Lincoln spoke for 3 hours. I want to say, or 2 hours or something ridiculous. Orators back then spoke for hours and hours and hours. But oh yeah, and the Yanks did take 2 or 3 from the Rockies, even though they should have swept them. Yeah, the Rockies have won 9 games this season. So yeah, unbelievably, the Yankees lost 1 game to them. But yeah, so at the Memorial Day, after the parade, like I said, they read all the names of all the dead, war dead, and those that gave their ultimate sacrifice in our town, going back to the Revolutionary War, and the Boy Scouts in our troop, and some of the other scouts read the names of the deceased, and we also have some military. We have a military person active duty comes and gives a speech. So yeah, it's really touching. Yep, and we've got Tim here. So hail Tim, and let's of course play this for our buddy Clobbering Times. And unfortunately, it's coming up on a year since we lost him. But let's play this.
I just love Clobbering Time.
And Dadman's not here, but hopefully he might show up. I'm not sure. He's probably out and about for the holiday weekend. But here we go.
Over that way.
God damn it, Mark! Jeez.
And here's a shout out for Steve. Yeah, they squeaked by today, 5-4. Yeah, which is ridiculous, but that's what happens sometimes. But Aaron Judge has been on a tear this year. Wow, he's been phenomenal. It's been amazing. Yeah. So so just take a moment tomorrow to remember why we have Memorial Day. I think that's what's important. Of course, if you're not a U.S. Live in the U.S. U.S. citizen, I guess, around the world they have different days to remember and commemorate those who have passed. But in the USA, it's a special holiday, and sometimes I think, unfortunately, it gets overshadowed by the what's on sale and what can we buy now and things like that. So hopefully people can take the time to remember what makes that. So all right, well, let's get to some of the fun things that are going on. Well, actually, I just want to show my. If you haven't watched my Slimer video, let me put the link in for that, because that was fun to speed that up and talk about or show how that was done. Oh, and Tim says thank you. Yeah, November 11th for the British, which is Armistice Day, and I think that's Veterans Day in the USA. And also General Patton's birthday, born November 11th, 1885. I can't remember a lot of things, but I always remember that. I don't know why, but I do. And so that's I think that's Armistice Day, and that commemorates the end of. Well, the original date was set to commemorate the end of World War One, I believe, if memory serves. Okay, Remembrance Day. Yep, November 11th. Thank you. Yep. So let me show. I guess I will have to turn the volume off. But if you haven't seen this, it was fun. This was fun to paint. So let me make this full screen. I guess I can't get in trouble for showing my own videos on YouTube, right? So let me share the screen. Of course, you can't. You can't share. Let me turn the overlay off here. That would help. Can't share the music. I think YouTube licenses the music for the shorts separately. That'd be cool if you could get some of this music there. But let me. This is kind of fun. Just a minute to watch. But Slimer came out pretty good, I thought. So it was fun. This was probably like maybe 40 minutes of video, or almost an hour, maybe. I'm not sure. And then you just go into Premiere and you tell it go 500%, or what did it? This maybe ended up even more than that, like 800%. So that's how I painted Slimer. Yep. Is it paint by number? Yeah, I wish it was. Yeah. Yeah. So this started with obviously you got to prime it with the gray or black. I used gray in this one, and just started with like a light green, and then dark where his rolls of fat are, and just keep doing different layers and like 4 or 5 or 6 different colors that were pre-mixed, and then like one green I went with like a more yellow green towards the end, and you just kind of work around it, and hopefully you get it right. And then the mouth and the teeth, tongue and everything painted by brush. The airbrush is Well, I'm not that good with an airbrush to do it. I'm sure some people could, but yeah. Hey, Captain Vinny. I've been slimed. Great to see you. Oh, the Yakety Sax Benny Hill theme. Yeah, that would actually be good for this. Yeah. That would work pretty good. Yep. So yeah, so this was fun to paint. I knock on wood, I think it came out pretty good. Oh, and the other thing that I finally I gotta take a video of this before I send it to Tom. Let me show I had a nice surprise for Tom Connor's Midnight's Edge After Dark. Let me here, let's take pause that so it doesn't get everyone blurry. That was fun. Like I got some splatter there, and that actually worked out pretty good for the skin. Sometimes mistakes work out pretty good because Slimer's a slimy dude, so that's it's okay. So yeah, let me get this. So grab something here. All right, while I'm doing that, getting some of the food photos ready. Yeah, there's always a lot of show prep, but fun show prep. But let me add as I'm going through my photos here. There we go. All right, so let's go to my 3D printing. There we go. Let's go down to that. And I actually printed like something really practical today. I printed how to something to hold batteries, AA batteries, battery holders. All right, let's pull this over here. So what I do, I save all my 3D prints in a folder here. So there's some Arnold prints there. So here I'm painting my wife was not too happy when she saw what was in the family room. I was teasing Tom. I said, just see what she how soon it takes her to notice this. So this is a 3D print. You'll see. I'm sure you probably could have already guessed what it is, but it's very fragile. So that's painting the knee there. Yeah, I think I'm just painting the orange there from Michelangelo. Let's see, is this one, do I have? Well, this is just assembling the top. Oh, I thought I took a picture of painting the leg, but so what I'll do is gonna make that a smaller or speed that up. Did I have a picture of painting the leg here? Sweep the leg. Oh, maybe I didn't add it to this album yet. I'll try to find it in a second. But anywho, so that's what you need to see anyway. So that's from from A Christmas Story. So it made a Tom had shown a picture of that. Hey, Aruch, if I'm saying that right, I'm probably butchering your name. Are you going to sell them or just make them for you? Well, I can make them to sell. Actually, I was thinking of doing it because, if anyone's interested, you can down below. You can see my email is down there. Marc D with a C17 at gmail.com. If you're interested, I might throw some of these up on Fleabay. They take quite a while to print and make. But I get the first one is always much tougher. But yeah, I definitely would sell some of these. So I'm sending this one to Tom. So he's been a good friend, and when he said, "Oh, I would love this," half joking. He was joking. Yeah, he didn't expect me to make this, but I liked the challenge. And the fun thing was I'd kind of screwed up trying to get the line through. So the original 3D model had some problems. I shouldn't say problems, but to put the set the lamp in there, the top was opening hole was way too big, so I had to shrink that down in the 3D model. But I forgot to take out the supports that are inside, so I couldn't get the line through. So I was trying to use a drill, and I slipped, and I made a hole. I made a hole in there. through the back. So originally I was just gonna try to keep it simple and just go green, with the turtle and turtle leg. Hey Donnie, great to see you. Happy real Star Wars Day for sure. Yep. And now if I remember, you can't get the lamp to light. Do not try what Michael Anthony Hall tried in Breakfast Club. And speaking of turtles, says Donnie, who is ready for more comic book crossover with the Power Rangers? Well, the Turtles and the Rangers, I think, would be great. That's a great combination. That would be fun. Yep. So so I had problem getting the line through. So I finally, finally got it through using some stuff that I used to get electrical cables through the wall. Fish, not fishing, but fishing electrical cables. Some steel. They call it what's the fish tape, but it's actually for electricians. It's a steel rod, basically, or steel bar that's flexible. So I finally able to get it through. I was like, yes, and I probably should have painted it first, but so I kind of had to work around getting that through. But so I wasn't gonna, long and short of it, I wasn't gonna paint all the accents and the highlights, but I think that ended up making it look a lot better versus just the straight green. So that did, I think, knock on wood, I think that one came out pretty good. I've got it in my living room now, so I gotta send that one out to Tom, because my much better half was I was waiting for her to say something because I put it right in the family room, and then she didn't say anything. And so I said, "Oh well, maybe she didn't notice." She's like, "Oh yes, I did. I noticed that. Definitely noticed it. Yeah." So that was a fun. She put up with me. Yeah, that was fun. Yep. Oh, here I do have some of the painting of it here. I had forgotten to put that in that album. It looks like it. We do add to album 3D printing. Here we go. Let's see if I refresh that. Let's see. I just found it, I thought. Where did that go? May 19th. Let's see. That should be right. Oh, here it is. Yeah. All right, let's see what I got on this one. Yeah. Well, just so you can see a few seconds. I guess you can't speed this up now when you're playing, but yep. Hey, Classic Comics is here. Great to see you, Classic. And Donnie, of course, is agreeing with Turtles and the Rangers together, of course. Yep. Now people are going to ask Tom, where's the other leg? LOL. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That joke's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Yep. Yes, this was a lot of fun to do. Yeah, that was where I'd kind of drilled through. So I had to fill in the hole and fix it. And there was another, and the top had gotten messed up. So I kind of was forced to paint it, which, worked out well, I think. So it looked a lot better. Let me go back. You can see how it looks just, well, I can't really see it there, but just the green. It you got to have those shadows and accents to show the muscles. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, it looks okay without it, but looks a lot better my opinion, to have those accents to make it look more muscly. Let's see here if I skip forward. Yeah, and I use some of the same paints with Slimer, right? So I'm doing a lot of green stuff lately. The Hulk, the Turtles, and Slimer. Yep. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yep. So yeah, so I probably will. Maybe I do have an eBay store, so maybe I'll put some of these up. Or yeah, Aurora, if I'm saying your name right. Yeah, if you reach out, or Twitter or email is good. If you're interested, let me know. Yep. I've got nothing against your right leg, Mr. Leonardo. Unfortunately, neither have you. Yeah. Right? Ouch, yep. And of course, that was a nice 3D print the guy did. Yes, his NY sewers like he's standing on. Yep. That's a good one. Yep. So yeah, so that was a fun project, and it's also it's really nice when it actually finish something, right? Sometimes it's tough to finish these things. As I start printing, I've been printing way too many things now. So then you've got too much stuff going, and like I better finish one thing before I get on to the next one because I've got our favorite time traveling Terminator to paint. I've got the Arnold version, and I've also got a T800 exos, not ex. Well, I guess skeleton, endoskeleton. How would you classify that? It's a the robot, just a skeleton version without the without the without the cybernetic flesh. So got to do that. Yep. Marc D with us, he talking about muscles on a turtle's leg makes you wonder why his wife watches. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's the base there, and I should have masked it more carefully, but I thought I was going to miss. But I did get a little green on there. It looks okay though. New York City subway sewers are probably got some moss growing on them anyway. Yep. Yeah. So here's that's and do I have a picture? I wonder if I have a pic. Well, here you can just see the color before. Yeah, that's the green color before. Did the shadows there. And while we're in here, yeah, here's the Arnold off the plate. Really nice details on that with the SLA printer, the resin printer. So much more detailed than the 3D printer, the FDM printer. Although I did have a problem with this part of the jacket, so I've got to go on the form, and that was a bummer because it was like an 8-hour print, and then the top part had delaminated there. So I don't know if my exposure time might be too long on that one. There's some Hulks. Gotta start sending those out to people. Yep. Yeah, Veterans Day is November 11th as well. Yep, arms sustain UK, France, and Belgium. The real story is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus NYC Pizza Rat. Yeah. And Donnie's wearing a poppy in honor of Memorial Day weekend. I'll do it again in late October through November 11th. That's a tradition here. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Donnie. Yep. Yeah, so let's see. Do I have the where's the Terminator? Well, there's the Hulk there that I print. Yeah, so here's the print of T800 coming out. Yeah. He came out really nice. Yep. So this is all the support. So the prints upside down, so it dips into the plate. And you can't really get a good, I guess you could get a video if I left the cover off. The fumes would kind of get out and as it's printing, but you can't really see much as it's printing. Not like the 3D printer because it's going upside down. So, but that's all the parts of the Terminator. So really, you can get really detailed prints in the base. That's going to be a challenge to paint. But fortunately, there's a guy on the YouTube. I'm forgetting his name. Great YouTuber, shows you how to paint all these. So he did a really nice job of showing you what colors to use, the steps, and everything. So there's also a Patreon person on Patreon that does that too, that shows you how to paint everything. So yeah. Oh, there's a close up of the Slimer. So yeah, so these things are a lot of fun. Hey, Lemon Pie. I just finished an NX01 refit, and it was kind of a rough FDM print, so I printed it. I just painted it in silver, and actually it looks really good. I got it flying over the board cube right now in my basement, so I've got to get that video on that one out. So that one's looking pretty good. But I might have to print another one in resin. I got to figure out how to print the starships in resin a little bit better. I think I've got a couple of tweaks that I've done since I was printing those, so they're coming out a little bit better. Yep. Fantasy, see when they do the Power Rangers and TMT, I'm hoping the Power Rangers kids have the common sense not to eat pizza in a sewer. Oh, what's a sanitary sewer down there? Yep. And hail to Red Spitfire 7. Hey, thank you for stopping by Sunday Night Geekery. This is nice. I do like some classic Terminator. Yeah, that was the God. Those first two movies were wonderful. Yeah, so there's the Arnold, and I also did the bus. So these are from. Let me actually put some of these models in. They're from Berserk 3D. So you can go on their Patreon and get these. Pay for these models. Of course, they're wonderful. I think it's a bunch of artists, but let me find their website here. Let's see where they. Oh, I spelled it wrong. I'm trying to do a search. Probably it's on my videos too. So let's see. Berserk 3D models. Why is that not showing up? Is it CG Trader? It's actually on Gumroad. Is where I think they do most of their stuff. I'm gonna put Gumroad in my search. Gumroad. Look at that link. There we go. So yeah, so here's Berserk Studios, and they call them terms. So each month they come out with different statues. So like these are from 2022. But if you do want to purchase any of them, yeah, go in and buy the old ones. But if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get a ton of stuff and then some old stuff, and they'll give you a discount, and then you can sell the models commercially. So let me put their link in the chat because I always want to give people credit where credit is due. So here is their link for the models. And thank you, Red Spitfire says Slimer looks cool too. Thank you. Yeah. So here is 3D. Oh, 3D models. So get 3D models at. There we go. And I mean, there's lots of people that are really talented, but Berserk does they focus on Marvel, and they also have a movie term, they call it. So they have movies that are out each month. They've had Ghostbusters, they've had Wrath of Khan, they've had Frank Dux from Bloodsport. Let's see if I do Bloodsport. That one just came out. Let's see if that comes up in the search here. Let's see. Ooh, the Swamp Thing. Oh, that one looks good. Let's see if let's see. Search work. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Search would help if you searched in the right spot. Let's see. Bloodsport. I always want to do the search first before I bring it over. Let's see. Karate. Let's see if that. Of course, none of it is showing up that I'm looking for. Clear. Let's see. Let me pull this over here. Sometimes that's half the battle, is showing the searches, but let's see. They have, can you sort by, newest first. That one. Yeah, so here's their latest stuff. Yep. So they've got Spawn. This is on their DC side. But yeah, you can see just all this cool stuff. It's just too much to print. Oh, that's a scary deceased. Who would want a Catwoman deceased bust? That's horrible. Sorry, guys. Yeah. But yeah, you can see all their great work. This is showing all the DC stuff right now. But anywho, you can find a lot of great modelers out there. Yep. Oh, Frank Dux is a YouTube rabbit hole akin to Steven Seagal. Good if you like Pulcito videos. Oh, 100%. Yep. I got a friend who was very involved in uncovering some things, and yeah, just the whole Frank Ducks stuff is all. It made a great movie. I mean, the movie's phenomenal, but it's all a bunch of BS. But God, I love that movie. But wow, that when you dig into it, especially with the internet now, it's a lot easier to find things. But yeah, I don't think that tournament ever really existed, and it's all made up. And maybe he's a great karate fighter. I don't know. I'm not getting into that, but yeah, there was a lot of bullshito dealing with that. Yeah, Steven Seagal just knocking people over left and right, and he ain't in the best of shape right now, Steven Seagal. So God bless him. It's very dimensionally challenged like me, but people just it's like Putin playing ice hockey. No one wanted to stop him from scoring. He was scoring at will. Yep. So yeah. So just crazy. Yeah. So let me find. I want to just all right. Let's see if I can find that the movie term. Yeah. Let's find that Frank Duck statue. Duck. Did I say duck? Ducks. Where the heck is that? Let's see. The Matrix. And let's see here. Got Thor. They got so many emails in here. Yep. Trying to find the Dazzler, the Hulk. Here we go. Yep. Bloodsport release. Yep. Let me grab. How can I find? I want to find this on where you can buy it. Let me grab that. Yeah. Let's see. Come on. They have so many posts there that you can never find the stuff here. Let's see. I apologize. Sometimes it takes a while to find this stuff. Let's see here. They've got the links kind of hidden. What they do each month, they give you highlights. I'm trying to find where you can actually see it. Yeah. Or purchase it if you want to. Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. Here's the. Okay, it's 3D Wicked. That's the DC version. Okay. There we go. Some more models are here. Yep. 3D Wicked. There we go. So here's their latest movie term. So they've got the Matrix. And if you wanted to print this, yeah, it's $10. You can pick one to print. $20 for the Neo. I might have to print that. That one looks pretty damn cool. Let's see, sort by newest. There we go. There's the She-Hulk. Loki looks great. Yeah. I mean, these all look great, but characters I really like. Here we go. Here's the Bloodsport. You should make an original anthropomorphic character, Frank Ducks. Yep. Frank Ducks. Yeah, that would be great. So Jean-Claude Van Damme. So yeah, that looks pretty damn good. And that was a fun. Yeah, you got to have that. You can't use this face. You got to use that face, right? Yeah. If you print it, yeah. Muscles from Brussels. So I guess they paint these example ones are just lightly painted, I guess. Yeah. Then they show you how how it's put together, or what you can print. So, but yeah, really, really well done. Yep. And of course, you got the bad guy, Chong Li. Wouldn't want to meet him in a ring anywhere. So Van Damme was never that thick. Well, the models took a little license there, I guess. Yeah, and then you get this diorama here. Yep. He did extra a little bit extra training. Double leg day. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty darn cool. Yep. Just thing is, you know how many of these can you print, right? It's they're so good, but it's like Weapon X. That'd be that's a great bust there. The painting is the thing too. You know, printing is one thing, and then to paint it. What Barry Windsor Smith, of course, and Marvel Comics presents did a wonderful job telling that story. Yeah, there's the Predator bust. Looks better than that new Predator that's out yet. Although Young was awesome. Yeah, he was great in that movie. Yeah, see, here's the Terminator. Yeah, the T-800 bust. This would be a lot. Terminator's not that tough to paint, the T-800. I mean, yeah, there's a technique to getting it done nice, but you know, when you got one color, silver, or you could just like print this in silver and then paint the eyes red. But that's I haven't printed this one yet, but I'm gonna have to print just the bust too, because that's a lot less work, and it will come out pretty cool. Yep. And here's that's what the old school Terminator is gonna. Let me see if I can zoom out here so you can see the whole. Let's make this. If I do that, there we go. Full screen. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. I've already printed it. Just got to paint and assemble. The base is actually going to be the toughest part to do, but I guess I should just go at it and not worry too much about being too precise with the base. But yeah, just a really nice job. But it was going to be tough. You know, you got to paint the gun versus the arm. You know, you got to watch where it overlaps there. So some of it's easier to paint as the model is separate, but it's big too. When you print this, I printed this full size. Of course, being a huge fan of the Terminator. So, and hail to Mark Harkness, and great to see that you spell your name correctly too. Thanks for stopping by Sunday Night Geekery. And then, of course, I haven't printed this. This is massive, but both the Terminator and Arnold together. That's really cool. I printed them separately, so but that was a nice job there. We've got, of course, Dr. Doom. We've got the news on Avengers Doomsday being postponed, and they've got the Purple Valkyrie. Love this. Dr. Doom riding on horseback. That's pretty darn cool too. You know, Dr. Doom went back to Camelot with Iron Man and Iron Man 150, classic comic, and then the sequel to that was Iron Man 250. Great reads if you haven't read them. And of course, yeah, the Evil Dead, yeah. So how cool is that? Yep. So like, stop coming with all this great stuff. I don't have time to print it. But yeah, that's just really wild, yeah. And Henrietta, I think that was his brother was in that. Raimi's brother was in that getup. Yep. There's Ash. Yep. And when we did Toxic Tuesday, should have if I didn't have these models till later, but yeah, those those have been fun to print to show on Toxic Tuesday. But yeah, just great stuff. Yeah. And this was so this is the Hulk that I did. Yep. Painted that one, and here's I haven't printed this yet. I've got to print this. Yeah, of course. His face kind of looks like. Does he look like Hugh Jackman a little bit there? A little bit Wolverine-y there for the Punisher. That's the only thing on that one. It's some nice job, but yeah. Dr. Doom riding horseback with no shirt on. I love Victor von Putin. Of course, they've got Stan Lee, and I wrote to him and said, "What about Jack Kirby? We need a Jack Kirby bust as well." Yep, and the Daredevil one. You guys have seen that if you've been following. Obviously, friend of the channel printed a bunch of these, so I got to get one down to Claude. Right now, I'm fixing the you assemble these. There's always gaps and things that are screwed up when they never print perfect. Put it that way, or maybe my printer's not good enough. Yep. That is actually a nice statue of Stanley. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's Ted Raimi. Thank you. Yep. Joker and Jockster. Yeah, not Joker. Joker. Come on, Mark, wake up. Jockster and Hercules. Yeah, that was he was a comedic relief in that. Yep. He wore it again for the Ash TV series. Yeah. I love that Hercules show. Yep. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Of course, classic Nick Fury. Wish they would do the Micronauts. I don't know if they can. Yeah. But you can just see how many how many great sculptures they have here. You could never. Well, I guess you could print them all, but then the zombie Wolverine. Hopefully for the Fantastic Four, they're gonna have some new characters coming out. Yep. Oh, I should do that next. Yeah, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I did the this one Standing Up. This one came out really nice, and they did a nice. What they did with this too, they had a simple base and a complicated base, so you could actually do that with resin to make it look like water. So I have printed this. That did come out really nice, but I did the simple base. I wimped out. Maybe someday I'll do the that other base. But yeah, so they've got Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, so I've got to do that one too. Yep, that's up on the list to print. But I figure I got to paint some of these first. But this creature probably this bust would not be that difficult to paint. The bases actually take more time. Yep. Print the thing bust with a cigar, and that's Jack Kirby. LOL. Yeah. I do have a nice actually bust I'm looking at right now. I can't reach it to show you guys, but the thing with the cigar. Yeah. Yeah. You mean Jockster, the mighty one, the best? I can't read. I'm not sure what you mean. The best pairings was him and the. I can't. Oh, King of Thieves. Yeah, the King of Thieves. Alacusis. I can't say anything tonight, and I had no beers tonight either. I know what you mean. Yep, from watching the show. Yep. Yeah, this that one looks great too. Yep. Frankenstein's monster. It's not Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster. Yep. Zombie Spider-Man. Ouch. He's seen better days. Yeah. Oh, the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man, right? There we go. That'd be a good one to print. Now this Slimer is not the one I printed. The one I printed was from Thingiverse. This one looks pretty damn good too. It's the other Slimer I got from Thingiverse for free. You can find a lot of great free stuff too. I don't know if I got these. I think these came out before I subscribed. I'm not sure. I don't think I got these, but these are really awesome too with the Ghostbusters. I think, when did these come out? Look at that. Yeah. That's a great diorama. Yep. They say when it came out. Let's see. Because once you start, you get access to everything. Yep. And of course, Tommy Wimey Limey is here with. I know you love the Back to the Future trilogy. You got the DeLorean in there. That's a better Marty McFly there. Yep. Back in time and out of time. Yep. When are we gonna have self-lacing shoes, right? So, all right. Well, there's this is a good one too. Yeah, 20th Century Fox. Yep. So, anyway, subscribe to these guys. Yep. If you want some cool 3D prints. Yep. Oh, there's only one episode where they had those two in a standalone story. Wish there'd been more. They worked well together. Let's see. Oh, Tali Cheese, if I remember the pronunciation. Bruce was great as the character. Yeah. Yeah, that was just a fun. Damn, that was a fun series. Yep. So let's we always joke here about food and clam pizza and all that good stuff. But we were playing Fortnite. And of course, if you've been playing Fortnite lately, of course, today is the one true Star Wars anniversary. Yeah, May the 4th, it became a marketing thing. May the 25th, that's really the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. Here we go. We're gonna play a few Star Wars clips.
Because a droid don't pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose.
Right, Han Solo. So yeah, hard to believe it was that long ago, but yeah, just told the story many times, but I had to beg my dad to take us to see Star Wars back in 1977. Yeah, I'm like a nine. I guess yeah, I was 9, and like, Dad, you got to take us to see Star Wars. Everyone's going to see it. That's going to be great, right? So it's 48 years ago. Yeah. So not that long ago. So finally get to go see it. I'm there with my sister, and of course that just sitting in the movie theater. And I remember going to see Fantasia as a kid. Of course, there was a re-release, and I think maybe my early, I can remember seeing Fantasia. So Star Wars, probably, maybe it wasn't my second movie, but it's what I can remember seeing. So we didn't go to that many movies, obviously. My dad had started a business, and we can't afford to go to the movies. Or maybe he didn't really want to see it, I guess. But it wasn't like a weekly occurrence. So I just remember the lights going down and hearing that 20th Century Fox fanfare, and I was pumped to see it. Because all your friends are talking about Star Wars, how amazing it is, and you haven't seen it yet, and just those lights going down, and then the theme coming up. And for years, I thought that meant Star Wars, a Star Wars movie. And little I know that was actually the 20th Century Fox theme. I thought that meant the Star Wars movie was going to play. And just that's the spaceships flying overhead. It was just so immersive. And then probably if I saw that movie theater now, or back then, they didn't. I don't think they had surround sound. Maybe they had. It was obviously stereo, I'm sure, but pretty decent sized movie theater. It's turned into an Apple store today, so sometimes I go and stand there and try to figure out, where did I see where would I have been? Where was my seat for Star Wars in this Apple store right now? And I just remember, how amazing it was to see that movie, and how, God, I felt like the coolest cat, right? You get out of there. I saw Star Wars, and you have, other friends. You haven't seen it, but I've seen it. Yeah. So my dad ended up loving the movie too, which was a lot of fun, because originally I don't want to see this crap. Well, back then he wouldn't have said that to me as a young kid, but he kept complaining about not wanting to take us. Yep. And Phantom says, "Oh, they had Dobley for Star Wars, but only in some theaters." Yeah, I'm guessing my theater did not have Dobley. I'm sure it was just a regular stereo presentation. I'm assuming. Who the heck knows? This many years later. Yep. If it's called The New Hope, it ain't the real dope. Star Wars 77 is the GOAT. Yeah, there was no. I remember going back and seeing him. Like, what's this episode 4 crap? What episode 4? And why didn't he start with number 1? He started with episode 4. Who starts with episode 4? And there was no episode 4. I'm like, we're telling our friends, like, you're asking, because there was no internet, obviously, back then, to look things up. You had magazines, but I'm like, I don't remember seeing seeing that. Do you remember seeing episode 4? Do you remember seeing A New Hope? I don't remember seeing. I just remember seeing Star Wars. Here, let's bring up I do have the crawl. Let me pull up the original crawl, because I do have the despecialized edition, so you can actually if you own the movies, I own Star Wars 20 times over probably. There's this let me find the file here. So you can actually there's a fan some fans have gone together and we want to watch Star Wars as the way it was originally shown in theaters in 1977. So, Lucas famously is since that VHS tape, Tom had put that out there on the Twitterverse a few days ago. For the last time, grab Star Wars while you can on VHS tape, the original trilogy, and of course, it turned out to be the last time you can get them unmolested. And really, what Lucas should do, if he was smart, he would listen to me, and other people have said this too. Just make both versions available, right? I mean, there's no reason you can't do that. So, like in the Star Trek DVDs, you can watch watch the original, or you can watch the enhanced effects. So, and I usually watch the enhanced effects in Star Trek, but if you want to switch, especially when I was watching with my kids too, like you don't want to draw them out of the story that much. So, and they didn't go overboard with the special effects too, or add things, and they do kind of look. They didn't make it totally photorealistic, so it looks. I shouldn't say cheesy, but it does look kind of fake. So it's. I do like that. Like how they did that in terms of maybe it was part of it too was probably the quality of the CGI back when they did that. And then Brian said, my dad would always say how great he thought Star Wars was. He didn't like most science fiction and fantasy movies. My dad loved 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I love too. Yeah, I'm saying that name and joke, but yeah, I love that movie too, and he loved that. And I remember we went to see silent films at the library, and one of them was the famous French movie, The First Man on the Moon. What was it called? To the Moon, French title. Oh, let me call it. I'm forgetting the name of it. First sci-fi movie, Moon, and it's a famous, scene. You've all seen it where the moon gets shot in the face. A Trip to the Moon. Yeah, Le Voyage dans la Lune. So, yeah, A Trip to the Moon. Let's see. And I'm sure I can show this without getting in trouble. Because this was from 19 whatever. 1900, yep. So let's pull this over here. Yeah. So this is ancient ancient film, yep. Trip to the Moon. George Millet, I think is how you say his name. So I'll just skip play a second of it, but yeah, so I remember my dad taking me to the library to see this. Where's the scene where the guy gets shot? Yeah, here we go. That's the famous with the rocket going to the moon, and there we go. The moon's looking down, and boom, right in the eye, right in the kisser. To the moon, Alice. Yep. So yeah, so check that out if you haven't seen that 10-minute silent film. It's and I just remember seeing that at the library with my dad, and they showed some other movies too, but that was one of the as a kid, I guess he watched watched that. So really in terms of special effects, yeah, we've come a long way. But yeah, that's let me put the link in for A Trip to the Moon. Yep, 1902. Yep. So that was sci-fi at its infancy back then. Yep. Let me put this. Always like putting these comments in if people are watching on the replay, or if you guys want to investigate further later on. Yep. So it's considered 84th among the 100 greatest films of the 20th century. It's best known. The moment when the capsule lands in the moon's eye remains one of the most iconic and frequently referenced images in the history of cinema. That's for sure. Yeah. So yeah, wonderful movie, and yeah, the special effects weren't easy at the time to do either. So lot of fun and great great science fiction. So let's see. Oh, Phantom says I saw in a regular theater. Then my uncle took me and my sister to the Dobley, and then my dad was like, "Okay." I always went driving easier to control my small kids and my one brother. The driving, I guess one was 5, the other was 3. Yep. And you saw Star Wars 5. I only got to see it once that year. Yeah, I didn't get to go back. I wish I had, but yeah, only got to see it that one time. Yep. Lucas and Disney refused to release the original on legal download, Blu-ray or 4K. So any shenanigans are in him. Yeah, it's just redonkulous. So here's the if you want to find out more about Star Wars and here's the Star Wars trilogy, Project 4K77. There are no download links in this per se, but they're on the interweb. So it's a fan project. The idea is to, let's get the movie back to what it was back in 77. So we're going to relive those memories, right? So, and then this is what George said a few years ago. Kind of PO'd a lot of fans. Let me begin this. Let's just make it full screen. There we go. So he says, there will be only one, and it won't be what I would call the rough cut. It'll be the final cut. The other one will be some sort of interesting artifact that people look at and say, there was an earlier version of this. What ends up being important in my mind is what the DVD version is going to look like, because that's what everyone's going to remember. The other versions will disappear. Even the 35 million tapes of Star Wars out there won't last more than 35 or 40 years. 100 years from now, the only version of the movie that anyone will remember will be the DVD version of the special edition. So, George Lucas and Expanded Universe American Cinematographer Magazine, February 1997, 20 years after Star Wars launched. And then, sorry, George, we're not going to let that happen. This is not how Star Wars is supposed to look, as shot as it appears in the official Lucasfilm Blu-ray edition of Star Wars. Now, I did buy those. My brother-in-law is actually in the credits, the bastard. Bastich. Kidding, Paul. But he could have invited me there to be on the quote-unquote crew. And we always tease him. Actually, he just texted me about that. He's like, I should have been there. I could have just, paid me quote unquote $50 and move some boxes around, but he got to interview Mark Hamill before Mark Hamill went nuts, and this was in 1997, and also interviewed the late great James Earl Jones, who, when he walked in the room, my brother-in-law said, I will not say it. Don't ask me. No, I am your father. Obviously, he's like, I only say that for my grandkids. So a lot of fun my brother-in-law had, and of course he hadn't even watched Star Wars all the way through, and his name is in the credits for the special edition. So I did buy them, and yeah, some of the special features are really good. But yeah, well, let me catch up to the chat a little bit here. Sorry even saw the mini movie trailer, Hardware Wars at the drive-in. Cool, yep. And Brian says, I remember the crawl being blue for the longest time. We're going through boxes in my dad's attic after he passed and found the poster with the crawl text in blue that used to hang in my room. Oh, that's great to have. Yep. And also the 42nd anniversary of Return of the Jedi. Yep. Remember, we saw Star Wars, not A New Hope. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I just saw Star Wars. Yeah. That's for sure, Mark. Yep. And let's see here. Let me catch up here. And Timer Wyman Lyman says, I'm on a mission to ensure that only the 1977 original is remembered. George is not allowed to rewrite actual history like his big brother. Yeah. Well, maybe if he creates another divergent timeline that no one knows about, that would be good. Yep. First ever Star Wars movie was originally to be called The Star Wars. I think someone did a tape to DVD transfer the original tape. Only difference on that is the addition of A New Hope. Well, if you read about this project, we're going to go through it a little bit. You'll see how they've restored the movie to what we originally saw in 1977. Now, I mean, I don't mind, hey, cleaning up a movie, restoring. There's a difference too, restoring the negative and getting rid of scratches and blotches and defects. When they print movies too, there are defects too. So some, as they talk about in depth in this website, there were things that we saw that were screwed up in some of the prints just because of sometimes when you make the print off the negative, things don't go well, or say the movie when you saw it in your movie theater, it burned through it, a couple of frames, and we'll have to splice some frames, or this print can get damaged. So it's fragile film. So yeah, there's one thing to clean it up and restore it. You can color correct it to what you should do is color correct it to the original. So this is the Blu-ray. I don't know how much this transfers through the interwebs, but hopefully that gives you a good idea. But here's the the Blu-ray version versus what they did on 4K 77 to bring it back to what we saw in the movie theater. So they have multiple versions of this movie available. So they have digital noise reduction. So film has grain to it. So some of these new Blu-rays, they take out all the grain of the film, and you might not notice it overtly, but you just catch it. You just feel something's wrong. Yep. And Brian says George was salty that people like Kurtz told him no and to cut things out, and then Marcia did more cuts trimming when she edited it. And I've read that his wife did a phenomenal job, and some people say she saved Star Wars in terms of her editing and making the movie a much better movie. I don't know how true that is. I've heard that, but yeah. Yeah, just to be in the same room as James Earl Jones is an honor. Yeah, I could have been there. Yes, my brother-in-law texted me today. He said picture because it's Star Wars Day, and he said you should have been there. I love these Star Wars audition tapes. Yeah, so we joke about it. It's like, yeah, I probably should have. I don't hold a grudge. You and me, I'm a nice guy, but that would have been one of those cool things. And I was going to bring like all the other special features too. If you watch, they have Star Wars props in the background. I was going to bring some of my Star Wars toys, to have in the background of, Luke and Vader. And that would have been so cool. Imagine if I'd said like my Millennium Falcon was behind Mark Hamill, or, my Darth Vader was behind James Earl Jones, was in that, in that special feature. And yeah, I didn't, it's okay. I'm not, I don't hold a grudge, right? Yep. I could have brought my Darth Vader Pez dispenser to have in there. Yep. So nope. So yeah, Mark says George is a genius, as was Roddenberry. Both men did their best work when surrounded by people who could curb their edges a bit. Yeah, I mean, geniuses don't always get everything right, but they do have that creative spark, and yeah, it does help to have a great team behind you. Yeah, can't do it all yourself, right? After all, what's Sherlock Holmes without Watson? Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hey, howdy, Zacharit. Great to see you. There's a YouTube video called Star Wars Saved in the Edit. Yeah, maybe that's what I think I've seen. Yep. And hail to the lunatic. Hi. Great to see you on Sunday Night Geekery. Thank you for stopping by. Yep. The original Star Wars paperback copy with the name Star Wars: Some Adventures of Luke Skywalker, and the concept art for Vader, Luke, Chewie, R2, and 3PO on the front. Oh, is that the Ralph Macquarie version? I do have my paperback of Star Wars, but I don't know if it came out. I got it after the movie. I have it on my shelf, but I wonder if it. I think mine just says Star Wars, so maybe it's later than yours, Brian. But I have a couple of those. The paperback novel, the novelization, and then the pictures, like includes 20 black and white pictures from the movie. Yeah. So Marcia actually added the whole sequence as Phantom, where the Death Star was going around the moon to attack the base. That's not part of George's original version. Yes, that's brilliant. Adds a lot of tension there, right? That time, it's like Jaws, right? The shark just watching for the shark. Just adds so much. Yep. And then so yeah, the regraded DNR was released. Yep. So here's some FAQ on this. Yes, an upscale. No, 97% of the project 4K 77 is from a single original 35 millimeter Technicolor release print. So that's what would have been in the movie theater. Scanned at full 4K, cleaned at 4K, and rendered at 4K. Team -1. Same crew brought you the silver screen edition 3 years ago. Team 1 are not professional film restoration experts. They're just Star Wars fans like you. Why do this? You mean apart from the fact there hasn't been a new transfer of the original film since 1993, the 2006 bonus DVDs use the 1993 Laserdisc master tapes, and George Lucas pretty much denies that this version ever existed. This is the version I grew up watching over and over again, and I'm afraid technology has moved to the point where the old VHS, Betamax, CD, Laserdisc, and 2006 bonus DVD just don't look good enough to watch on modern HD and 4K UHD televisions, home theater projectors. And that's true. I mean, I grew up watching Star Wars on my VHS tapes and looked fine on like a 13-inch color TV or Star Trek or hey, Sir John, great to see you. And then you blow these up, and like Star Trek, you can see where the uniform has, maybe a cut in it, and it wasn't that the designers were, like a patch. You can see some of them, or you can see the stunt doubles, especially when Kirk's fighting. When you're watching on a 13-inch black and white TV, you're not worried so much because you're like, oh, well, no one will never see that, right? Now that they've scanned it, in 4K, because Star Trek was done on film and many old TV series were done on film, so you could scan it to 4K, 4K resolution or higher. I mean, film is very high resolution. So when it's blown up like this, God, like trying to watch Voyager, there's a lot of not good stuff in Voyager, but my God, Voyager looks horrible. The streaming version on Paramount, if you subscribe to Paramount, if you watch that, my God, it looks atrocious. So there is a fan version that upscaled DS9 and Voyager, and wow, looks so much better. So actually, I was talking to Armin Shimmerman at Terrificon last summer, and I left my signed photo on his desk, and he was super nice, and he sent me the photo. So God, that was nice of him. And I've got to get that framed and up on my wall. Quark saying good customers are priceless. I'm forgetting the exact rule of acquisition, but let me find that rule of acquisition. But yeah, and I was talking to him. I said, when you watch your show, it looks horrible. And I said, I might have seen a better version that fans did. So yeah, customer satisfaction is worthless. Oh no, that's not the quote there. I can't find it right now, but rules of acquisition. Let me see. Rules of and I'm solo tonight, so it's tougher to find things quickly. Yeah, but it was one of the rules of acquisition. So I got an even better quote on my photo. So if I've got to, hopefully I'll see him again. Yeah, good customers are as rare as latinum. Treasure them. I think I'd remember that. But yeah, so from DS9, the Armageddon game. So just super nice of that. But I was talking to him. Oh, Six is here. Wow, Six super sticker, $10. Goodness gracious. Well, let's play some Star Wars clips for that. Thank you, Six. Let me play a bunch of classic, awesome Star Wars clips. Let me go to thank you for that. I got my Star Wars clips here. If I can find them, yep. There we go.
No, I am your father.
I mean, wow, that blew me away in the movie theater. What?
It's a trap!
Let's just say we'd like to avoid any imperial entanglements.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. If you only knew the power of the dark side.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Wow. Thank you again, Six. That was very generous of you. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Yep. Seriously fills my heart with joy. Yep. I don't know if you were here earlier, but my brother-in-law, we're going back and forth, but he is a video guy, and he got hired to be one of part of the camera crew that filmed Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones. So that bastard, best teach him teasing. I love my brother-in-law, but his name is in this credits of Star Wars on the special edition as working on it, and he almost hired me to go down there, New York City for the day. This was back in the 90s, and just be quote unquote be on the crew, just the box mover. And I was like, oh, I can bring some of my toys. It can be in there. And he didn't, he said, oh, maybe it's a bad idea. I'm like, I know how to control myself, I would have been okay. Yep. So I didn't get to do that, but he told me a lot of stuff, about that day back then. And I remember the one he Mark Hamill kept complaining, oh, anything for George, because back then they hadn't made much money. They hadn't done the sequels and the prequels yet. And unfortunately, I guess George was a very brilliant businessman. He, no one made movies, money off the movie licensing with toys. And so apparently, I guess Hamill, they only got their, some of the actors only made money when Star Wars actually shown theatrically. That was the contract back then too. Who knew, right? 20th Century Fox, gave George the toy rights in exchange for other things, and the toys ended up making a ton of money. And brilliant, God bless him. Very, very smart. So he said, but then when the cameras rolled, he was all friendly, but he wasn't too enamored. Oh, I got to do this for George. Yeah, but it all turned out well. I'm sure they're good friends. But and Mark, I'm sure, has made a ton of money now. Yep. Let's see. Let me catch up on the chat here too. Let's see here. Brian says that's why I kept a CRT with built-in VHS and DVD player. That and Duck Hunt for the NES. Yeah. So I think I still have one of at my mom's house. We had a HD CRT, which was beautiful. One of the Sony Trinitrons. Really great to watch video games on there. Yep. And I'm altering the canon. Pray I don't retcon it any further. Yep. I'd like the floors to be there. You should have him on. Yeah. Maybe that would be fun to have him on to talk about that. I mean, so long after that I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And his friend Rob works for does a lot of horror work and did a lot of AMC movie like little behind the scenes. If you watch AMC, like say they're doing Dracula, he'll do a behind the scenes on Dracula. Really cool guy, and he's got some great stories and people that he's met. But yeah, Paul's like, I don't know if you're gonna. I didn't think you could handle yourself. I don't know how you would have been 6, but yeah, being in the room with James Earl Jones and Mark Hamill. Yeah, maybe he thought I was gonna lose it. He's like, I don't think it's a good idea, but it's okay. I still love him, but every once in a while I tease him, and he's not a Star Wars fan too, so it's even worse, right? So yes, very very jealous. Yeah. So yeah, so his friend Rob does a lot of into the horror and sci-fi and like funny thing, just remember from Clobbering Times, his buddy Rob was interviewing Nicotero from The Walking Dead, and doing a vignette for AMC, like a bio, and he sent me some pictures. I'm not allowed to show them because it's private pictures. It wasn't on on the show. I should dig up that link if I can find the documentary, the vignette that he did. But Clobby and I are like, that looks like the bridge to the Jupiter 5. And like from Lost in Space. And Clobby loved Lost in Space. And we're like, that looks like the console, from the ship. We're like, that's from the Jupiter. The Jupiter. It was Jupiter 2. What did I say? Jupiter 5? Gotta get my my spaceship straight here. Yeah, Jupiter 2. Come on, Mark. So you're gonna lose my geek cred. So so we're looking at it, and he's like, and it's just like a piece. Let me see if I can find a piece of a picture of the ship, Jupiter 2 bridge. Here we go. Yeah. So as I'm asking Rob, I'm like, is that like a remake? He's like, no, it's actually the Jupiter 2, a piece of the Jupiter 2. So I think in the picture, like Nicotero's here, but it's like you could see like a side piece of, a picture of it. And presented here is one of the most spectacular Lost in Space props surviving today, the complete electronic flight control station from the set. So I don't know if he's got the whole. Oh yeah, this slot sold for $60,000 on December 16th, 2005. So maybe this is what Nicotero has. I don't know. But the funny thing was my brother-in-law was like, you nerds. He's like, how did you notice that from like a corner of the photo? It wasn't a photo like this. I wish I could show it, but I can't. But it was like, how did you pick that? How did you pick that out? I'm like, because, because we're nerds, right? I mean, so just noticed it, but he's like, there's no way you could figure that out. And I'm like, yeah, well, so just interesting. It's great to save those props like that. So well, here, let's play the nerds. Cover your ears. This is loud.
Get those nerds! Nerds! What?
So a lot of fun that he had interviewing people. Yep. So here we go. So let's let me catch up to the comments. Apologize. Thank you for all these great comments rolling in. I got to make sure I stay abreast of them. And Brian, yeah, you guys are the best. Yep, Jupiter 2. Yeah, I said Jupiter 5. Come on. Oh, the much older, the DY100 class. Yep. Oh, Mead Raid. Awesome. Yep. And Tom was doing Star Wars tonight too. I'm sure talking about that. Yep, which is great. Yep. And I was watching. We'll get to the movie that I watched tonight, which was okay with the kids. But yeah. But thank you for everyone to be here. So I was just talking about how as you're joining us on the Mead Raid, if you could all smash that like button, that's awesome. And if you haven't subbed, if you like, it'd be awesome to grab a few subs too. So thank you. But my brother-in-law, his friend Rob, does a lot of filming and interviews, and he lives out in LA, and was interviewing Greg Nicotero. So we tiny piece of the console was showing from the Jupiter 2. And we're like, is that the Jupiter 2? And my brother-in-law was like, what's the Jupiter 2? I'm like, and Clobby and I were like, how could you not know what the Jupiter 2 is? Yeah. So hail to Keely Chow, roll tide. And Infinity says, yeah, the closest I got to Star Wars IRL was Elstree Studios for episode 1. I got to wonder about the Naboo hangar decks and starfighters. I almost passed out. I mean, yeah, certain people, some people knock the prequels, but one thing I don't think you can knock on that is the character design, or maybe Jar Jar, but the robots, the characters, the tanks, the worlds that were built. We got great new worlds in those prequels, and really breaking some new ground. And of course, seeing that first lightsaber fight and the droidkas, and oh god, that was awesome. Yep. So hail to Watcher X, and thank you everyone from Mead popping by. We got a lot of people hanging out with us right now, which is great. Yeah, it was a box that Disease Maniac Lex Luthor hid the detonator, but really kryptonite. So Anakin's lightsaber and kryptonite, same box, 1 year apart. Oh, cool, interesting. Yep. So we're talking about if you want to watch Star Wars, as we saw, if you're old enough like me, unfortunately or fortunately, to see Star Wars in the movie theater, and you want to see it like it existed back then, way back when, the dark reaches of the 70s, back when we had disco, and I don't know if Saturday Night Fever was out yet, but it was a different world back then. No internet. We had AM, FM radio. No VHS. I guess some people maybe had VHS tapes, but that didn't really become cheaper till the 80s. So if you want to watch the movies, you can see if you own a copy of Star Wars, which I'm sure most of you do, you can get this Project 4K 77. So and they also did Return of the Jedi, and of course Empire Strikes Back as well. So and they're just trying to bring it back to what it was, and just clean up the picture and scan it at 4K. Yeah. So 3% of the movie, where did it come from? 2,000 frames came from Eastman Print. So they're trying to find certain picture parts of the film that they have are damaged. 400 frames that couldn't be sourced from anywhere else at the time they're needed were upscaled from the official Blu-ray. There are no frames from VHS, Laserdisc, or DVD. So they'll just show you the different. That's what we're going to do. We're going to show, when we started talking about that, I was going to show the crawl of the original Star Wars. Yeah. So let me let's see. Do they have the fanfare here? Let's see. Let's see. Star Wars 4K 77. Where are we? Let's see. Let me pull this up. And of course, you got to watch out playing Star Wars, but I can do the opening here for a couple of seconds. George Lucas hopefully will not strike me down. Here, I just want to get to the crawl here. And maybe we'll make this make it a little smaller, that way it's not the full. Oh, clicked the wrong corner here. Let's make it smaller so it's not the full screen. So of course there's the famous Star Wars logo coming in. Let's see if so here we go. This is there we go. That's the money shot, right? There's no bloody A New Hope. No bloody Episode 4. It's a period of Civil War. That's what you got in that crawl there. Yep. Yeah, don't get struck. Yeah, I'll stop it. Stop it there. But that's it, right? That's your crawl there. Yep. That's what you had. Yeah, you didn't have any title. Then later on they added that. So yeah, that's a great way to, and I'll just go grab a random frame here. You can see how sharp. How about the end scene? Yeah, when they're all lined up getting their awards. Yeah. Chewie didn't get a medal. Chewie should have gotten a medal. Yeah. You can just see how sharp the picture is. It's just let me play like 2 seconds because I can't get you for that. Let me skip. Yeah, look. I don't know how that transfers through the interwebs, but late great princess. But yeah, just they did a great job. So you could watch it, exactly as you did back in the movie theater. And I was jumping up and down as a kid. Wow, I was so excited to see that. So yeah, wow. There was that last shot where they have them all standing with the medals. But yeah, it was just awesome sauce. Yeah. And of course, when R2 is I'm gonna pull this back here so I can skip to that last shot. I'll pause it then. But yeah, then R2, you find out R2 is still alive, right? So or alive, not destroyed. That was a big moment. Great way to pan down there. You see that everyone cheered in the movie theater. Yeah, when you see R2 is back, right? He's all fixed. Yep. Oh, the Hildebrand racetrack logo. What's that referencing, Brian? I'm not sure what that means. If you could elaborate for me, that would be great. Yep. Yeah, but it was just such a fun, uplifting. Yeah, it was A New Hope when that was finished. End of the movie left you feeling great, right? And you'd seen something. There we go. Here's that. Yeah, where's Chewie? They should. All right. So if you want to put something and have Chewie get a medal, right? Tail. Yep. But just you can see how clean and sharp this. Oh, speaking of R2, knock knock. How's it going, R2? Oh, jeez, you're here. Let me add Professor R2 to the stream. Let's see. We can't hear you right now, but I don't know how long you. Oh, there we go. There's R2 is here.
Hello, hello.
Hey, happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Right
4K 77 is the way to go.
Right?
Yeah, it's the compression over StreamYards is not going to let you enjoy the beauty of the full uncompressed 4K 77. Someone asked me earlier today how much space it took up on my hard drive. I said, "Oh, the full 4K uncompressed version?
Yeah, it's
68 gigabytes."
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
What?
What's a gigabyte? Well, what I did too, I have my Plex server. I did, compress it down so I could have like a portable, 2 gigabyte version or whatever. Yeah, just. But then if I want to watch it,
I have a couple of different versions. But yeah, the full solid 4K version, of each of these is somewhere between 68 and 90, depending on the version that you're looking at. Yeah.
Is that what's a Blu-ray store? A 4K Blu-ray? I guess is that what a 4K Blu-ray can store too?
No, the multi-layer Blu-ray. I think.
What's the most they can get?
What you could write on your own. I think like the home burners.
Yeah.
I think max at 20 gigs.
Oh, max is at 20 gigs. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do have versions that are on their little on their site. Versions that have been compressed specifically for going onto Blu-rays. Maybe it's 40.
Yeah, you can get
maybe you can do 40 gig burns at home.
I'm looking at the interwebs here, but maybe a burner. Yeah, maximum size for 4K Blu-ray disc is 100 gigabytes. These discs can be dual layer 66 gigabytes or triple layer 100 gigabytes. But maybe you can't write. Maybe that's not writable though. There could be a difference in terms of
because burning those at home is pretty tricky.
Yeah. I've never been able to burn a 4K. 4K. I don't have a 4K. I just have.
Yeah, there's only. I think there's only a few of them out there that'll burn something in 4K. It's Tom.
Hey Tom.
Somebody mentioned 4K.
4K. You're the 4K man.
I'm the 4K master.
4K master for sure. Yep. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the mead raid, as always. Yep, much appreciated.
Yeah, I thought I'd at least stop by and say Happy Star Wars Day and whatnot. I don't know how long I can stay, but and I saw you were talking about something interesting there with the Star Wars thing and the whole. Is this the
4K?
Is this
77?
77?
Yeah. Well, I just have a pause at a frame, but we're showing the opening crawl and then just talking about 4K. And then also for you, you guys are just joining. enough R2, you heard me, but my brother-in-law actually filmed the interviews for the special edition of Star Wars, the DVD, the Blu-rays, the Blu-rays or DVD. But it was James Earl Jones and Mark Hamill. He was on the crew for that filming. So, damn it, his name is in the credits. At the end of that, and he's not even a huge Star Wars fan. My nieces had never watched Star Wars. I made them watch Star Wars
this before.
Yeah. So
was he on the Empire of Dreams, or was it the stuff they were doing for the Blu-ray? That'd be the question.
The stuff for the Blu-ray.
Because I'm not trying to remember. I don't know if they did any new interviews for the Blu-ray, so it might have been for the Empire of Dreams documentary. But
I think they probably copied him. They probably copied him over.
Empire Dreams has never been done before, didn't get carried over, so maybe you're right. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember which, but it was the last version. It was a special edition. What came out when the special edition was? It special edition Blu-ray? I think that's what it was, right?
Well, the DVDs came out in 2004. and then or was it 2004 or 5?
Let me look.
And then the Blu-rays came out in 2007, I want to say. And then we haven't had a new release until the 4K ones, which was a couple years back. So it'd be one of those. But they all had different special features up until...
Yeah. Let me see if I look up his name in IMDb. If he does he show up in... Oh, wait, that's... let's see. Nope. Let me see.
See, because the Blu-ray didn't have the big Empire Dreams documentary, but it had the old-ass television documentaries from...
Yeah.
Okay.
From like ABC or CBS or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. The extras from one edition to another have just been a mess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could grab the edition to see what it was, but it was that I think it was when they first came out on Blu-ray. I think that's when he filmed that. But let me see when
they might have done some new interviews that I don't.
Yeah,
I've only watched the Blu-ray.
This was years ago.
Because my problem with the Blu-ray was how it was set up on the Blu-ray. It was really wonky and hard to navigate, and it's really stupid. Because he's got it separated through sections of different areas that they go to in the film, and then you got a bunch of different interviews that you got to kind of go comb through and shit like that. And it's like, it only takes up a portion of the screen and not the whole screen. And you're like, there's no like full screen function or anything like that. So it's really wonky. And yeah, I don't remember if they had any of the actors, but I remember that was a lot of technical stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So like he texted me today, like, I love these Star Wars edition tapes. He's like, you should have been there. LOL. I'm like, you know, it's like years later. He's like, yeah, Mark, I should have had you on, the quote unquote on the crew. But when James Earl Jones walked in, I think I've told you this before, Tom, but he's like, nope, don't ask me to say it. I won't say it. I only say it for my grandkids. No, I am your father. Yep. And Phantoms, I like to believe the reason Chewie did not get his medal is because it was a choking hazard, because sometimes Wookiees eat gold color things. Yep.
I did not know that.
Well, if you remember the comic, The Adventures of Tag and Bink, they accidentally dropped it and it got broken, so they just pretended they didn't have one.
They didn't have one for him. Chewie, yeah, poor Chewie's up there and gets no medal. Yeah, it was too tall for Leia to reach up there. Yep.
I think he's gotten a couple other occasions, but yeah.
Thank you for the sub. I have.
Very.
I'm not going to read
Price,
that. I'm not going to read that.
Price likes to pronounce that one. I have nerdic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the sub. Much
Thank
appreciated. Yeah. I think I do, though. I hope I still do. Yep. Chewie has a Cyberman Gold allergy. Yep.
But yeah, 4K77. I'm in love with it. I wish
it's fantastic.
I wish we could get our hands on the negative, but this is the best we're gonna get.
Do you prefer
negatives
with the noise?
Cost big bucks now.
I don't like the DNR. Do not like DNR. I mean, I don't mind it being a little cleaned up, but other than that, like of the films, like Return of the Jedi looks amazing. Like whoever had that print,
they had a great print for that.
Really good condition.
Yes.
The colors start to fade a little bit about a third of the way into the movie, but other than that, like once you get to the outside Tatooine scenes, it starts to take on like a goldish yellow hue, which happens. It's starting to get a little vinegar syndrome, but that one looks great. Empire looks rough. And I guess that's from several different sources.
Yes, it took them a long time to source Empire.
Yeah, and I wish they could find a 70mm source for that one. That'd be nice, because those come, straight from the negative onto the 70mm. And we were talking a little bit about that on the show earlier, but we didn't get into it too deep. There was actually two different versions of Empire because of that, because the 70mm version came out first, and there was a few things that George added into the end of the film, I guess, at that last sequence, that extended the film in the 35mm prints. So there technically was already a special edition of Empire in its original release. But I mean, he's always tinkered with them from the start. But yeah, in the original Star Wars print, that one looks mostly good. There's a few reels or shots that kind of look rough here and there, but for the most part, that one looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, they've spent a lot
of money and time on this shit,
cleaning up that original
Yeah.
Star Wars. They've been working on 4K 77 since they got the first print in 2017, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So they've been cleaning that up, working on that. They've got a 2.0 that's a work in progress. That will retime all the colors and finish all the cleanup and everything.
I have seen some weird shit leak out to where I cannot believe to this day, especially when Disney bought Star Wars, that accidentally somehow
we found
the original negative files. Well, they're there. George has them on file, but unaltered and all, without all the digital cleanup and all that shit. Oops, they accidentally made their way online. Oh man, what a fucking tragedy. All the Star Wars films from the negatives online, no alterations whatsoever.
Yep. Surprise.
But I don't know what exactly exists in what scan, but like I know they have a print of it at Disney because they've shown it to people where it's the unaltered version that they've shown in like these special screenings. I believe the Library of Congress finally has an unaltered version.
They have it, right? They finally, because they wouldn't send it for a long time, right?
Well, George kept sending them the special edition and they kept sending it back. Because they're like, we don't want this version.
We don't want that
version.
That's not what we're putting in our archives. That's
and here's the thing where George says it doesn't exist anymore. It's like, okay, here's the problem I can see happening where he's partially probably not lying and somewhat telling the truth. Here's the thing. The Blu-rays we have now, the 4Ks, the Blu-rays, every version we have since the 1997 special edition, I think he's only scanned a couple times, but they're basically all the same thing. What he'll do is he'll take the digital files from the scan, and it's just the same thing. He rebuilds it. So the 4K version we have now, even though I think he scanned the negative at one point in like 6K, it's still like an up-converted 2K digital interpositive.
4K,
yeah. So it's like it's all like doctored up and cleaned up and looks like snot because it's so fucking DNR'd to hell. It's not as bad as Predator or Terminator 2, but it's pretty fucking bad. All of them look that way. All of them. Because George did this thing with them all. He wants to make them all look like digital.
It looks like you've got plastic surgery on some of the characters.
Sometimes it does, yeah. Or you get the floating grain or ghost grain, as I like to call it. And some other shit where it's just stuff just doesn't look natural and it looks weird and too clean and pristine. And it's not like, yes, if you have the negative, you can generally get a pretty good print where it's not dirty or got a bunch of scratches in or anything like that. But notoriously, Star Wars isn't like that. It has a very banged up, damaged negative because it's been struck so many fucking times over the years.
Well, even early on, it was shot on fairly
shitty
cheap
film
stock. Yeah.
Cheap film, right? Yeah. So here's the explained film grain. Tom, you want to talk about film grain. Maybe people don't know what film grain is when we're.
Well, the easiest way to think about it in the terms of like kind of like pixels, right? You have more pixels in a picture, right? The better it's going to look. Well, grain works the same way as pixels, but the difference is they're not perfect squares or circles or anything like that. They're oddball shapes that take on the shape of whatever it's hard to explain, right? But you know it when you see it. But what these guys
a picture. I don't know if this comes through the internet.
A little bit. If you zoom in on it, you can kind of see it maybe.
Oh no, it went the other way.
It went the other way. Let's say if you could really zoom in. There you go. Yes. Yeah. Good.
This is overgrain. This is overgrain, but because film doesn't look perfect per se,
Yeah. Well, if you think of the film as what it is, that film is a whole bunch of molecules that have been laid out into that sheet. And each of those molecules that are laid into that sheet are embedded with the chemicals that allow it to react to light. And those are not going to be perfectly uniform. Some of those are going to react more quickly. Some of them are going to react more slowly. Some of them are going to be right next to each other. Some of them are going to be spread out. And so the way that all of those different molecules react to that light, and then the way all of those molecules react to being processed once it's finished, it's not uniform. And so what left behind is that ununiform appearance of all of those different molecules, and depending on the quality of that film, like how well that film is originally created, how well it's processed, gives you those different types of grains. So if you go look at a bunch of cheap films, made in the 1970s. Go look at some blaxploitation films. Those were always made on really low quality stock because that's, they were making them for cheap.
Yeah, film is expensive, right? Yeah, because we don't realize today with the digital, it's like I'm taking pictures today, boom, boom, boom. I don't care how many pictures I take. I'll take 4 or 5, if I'm doing a portrait or a family.
Yeah.
And then you delete them all, right? But back then it would cost too much money. You couldn't afford to take 5 pictures. Yeah.
Like the shittier stock, you use the bigger chunkier grain you're gonna get.
Grains, yeah.
Or if you're like in darker light, or if you're using like a smaller film stock, the bigger the grain gets.
Exactly, yeah. And some of it comes down to the camera, how much light is able to come through the lens to
how good
to actually activate that film. And so, when you look at a lot of the films from the 1970s, they have that. Well, some people refer to as a grindhouse look. It's very gritty.
Yeah.
And that honestly, the original version of Star Wars looked like that, and I love it. When I go back and that first download I got of 4K 77 without the DNR in it, it's just fantastic.
It does look good, and I think it's important to kind of explain to those who may not understand why you shouldn't wash that away. Is because once you start washing it away, as you can kind of see, that's a good picture to bring up right there.
There you go. Yeah,
you see the detail go away.
Yeah, you lose the details.
You start losing the details. So what they're doing is they got an algorithm or a program that'll go in and denoise it. And what it does is it takes out the actual detail as it's going along, because it's just basically smudging out that grain, right? Yeah. It's creating kind of the algorithm will say, okay, that, when it looks like this is what we like. So it's kind of artificially creating a clearer image, and it looks clearer to you because it's not as quote unquote grainy.
Yeah.
But it's actually pulling out details that are actually there.
Yeah. The cheapest algorithms, the cheapest ones, essentially just deviate to the mean. They look at a big chunk and they say, well, this is all the same color, and they just sort of even that out. And they get rid of all of the other, and when that happens, there might be maybe you're looking at, say, a sheet of stainless steel. Well, there's a ton of detail in the little grit and the scrapes and how that was processed. Yeah. And then if you take it and you add on that noise reduction, all of those little details of how that stainless steel was processed just turn into a flat gray.
Well, this is a good example right here.
Yeah, so this is, I don't know if this is coming across the interwebs.
I can see it, yeah. I know exactly what you're showing here.
So if you look on the edge of the door, think of those ridges on the edge of the door here. And maybe that's not important or critical, but it just shows what you're losing. But there's actually ridges that are going horizontal in the door, and the DNR is just, and the algorithm
actually is important because you want to know why, Mark. That left on the left, that Blu-ray is from the fucking negative. And that 4K 77 is from like a second generation dupe. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So you're talking, that's how much you've lost in doing that DNR shit.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. Thanks so much, George.
It's not just George, though, either. There's a lot of guys that James Cameron, Peter Jackson. In fact, one of the more famous ones is on Lord of the Rings. There's a shot in there where they DNR'd it so bad that part of Gandalf's staff disappears into the background because it was so close to the color of the background that the computer couldn't differentiate.
Is this the new 4K version?
Yes.
So should I not buy the new 4K versions?
Well, just keep in mind they do technically look better. They do technically look better than the Blu-rays, but he has tweaked some things since the Blu-rays. I haven't compared them side by side yet, but from what I know, and I have them, I just haven't had time to really dig into them.
Go through them.
The older Blu-rays actually look more filmic and more natural,
more like a film,
because
the Blu-rays look pretty damn good, I have to say. Blu-ray is nice.
He changed not just the DNR part, but he actually changed a few things in the film itself, not to the extent of Star Wars, but like, for instance,
Han shot first stuff.
No, not like that bad. But like the scene where like what's her face, the elf chick, I forgot her name. Liv Tyler's character.
Liv Tyler, yeah.
Where she's having that premonition or that dream about
what happens when the ring takes it, when Sauron takes over the world.
Yeah, and she's at that funeral with the king. and all that kind of stuff. And that he changed like all the color timing on, and he added like this weird dreamy effect around the image and stuff. Like there's stuff out there you can find where they'll show people this is the old version, this is the new version. Yeah, yeah. So there's like at least a few instances they found of that kind of a thing. And I have yet to go back and check out Indiana Jones again because I watched that on my older TV. And now that I have my new TV, I wonder if I'll notice
check out the
4K, lot of the problems.
The 4K, yeah.
Because American Graffiti really made me want to fucking throw that disc out the window. Because that's
it was bad.
I love that movie so much, and he fucking just DNR'd the shit out of it. It looks it's almost as bad as the Terminator 2 disc.
It's like Botox in a movie, and people think that Botox is going to make them look good, and you end up looking worse, and you get that horrible face, and it's almost like you have these tools, and you want to use them, but you got to have restraint. Like I do a lot of photography, and I was doing a golf tournament last week, and sometimes you get stuff in the background. And you sometimes would take like a half hour, 20 minutes or more to take out, like, say a person is there you don't want, or the damn AI with, on a golf course too, it's grass, right? It's pretty easy. So yeah, a tool you're using it there. I want to take, these people out, or there's a splotch on the golf course. I want to make it look nice. Boom. And the AI would do it in Photoshop while I use Lightroom. Freaking amazing. But we want to see this movie like we saw it back in 1977. We don't want to make it perfect. We want some of those warts left there, or these fine details, and it just looks so washed out with the DNR. And I couldn't understand that too when I was watching. I'm like, why does this look wrong? There's something just doesn't look right, and it is a shame. Yeah. So yeah, as Rod's first saying here, yep. You turn, do the latest version, a previous iteration. And like Star Trek, they let you watch both. So this is really the best way to enjoy these movies, and it's a damn shame. I mean,
yeah. And if you want a kind of a cleaner looking version, that's where you go to Harmy's version, because that's mostly sourced from like the Blu-rays and stuff, to where it's from the cleaned up negatives. So if you're somebody who doesn't give a shit about the stuff we just talked about for the last 10, 15 minutes,
there's Harmy's versions, and then there's what's known as the
silver screen
3PO or D+ versions.
Okay.
Those are where they've taken those 4K D+ versions, and then they've cleaned them up and balanced some of the colors, and then chopped out the garbage.
But the problem with those, they come from that. Yeah, and so that's for people who don't give a shit about the noise reduction business, because if you want them to look as pristine and clean and crystal clear as you think they are, then fine.
Yeah.
But it just bothers me because I tried watching, like, the prequels are almost as bad too, especially Phantom Menace. Now with episode 2 and 3, I think those were just straight digital ports that were up converted, so I don't think he did as much noise reduction, because those still have Elation and stuff on them.
What did they use film for the? I mean, I know the first one was only
the first
1080p,
one they shot
right?
on film, but they scanned it in, and then the second and third film he shot completely 100% digitally.
Direct to digital. Yep.
Oh, so we'll never get a better. You could never get a better.
They were actually.
Version.
I think episode 2 was shot in 1080i, and episode 3 I think was shot in 1080p. But so like that's
they're 1080.
Both shot on 2K cameras. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so when you think,
it'll never look better.
It's less resolution. Well, less resolution than the
until
film.
AI catches up.
Film.
That is.
Yeah.
I think AI will maybe get there in 10.
I wouldn't be surprised if George
years.
Lucas is not one of the first people to come out and use AI on his fucking movies, because I've heard from enough reliable sources now that even though Disney bought the movies and all that business, he still controls what edits are out there. So as I reported back in the day, and many other people did too, he was the one who was responsible for McClunky and the Ewoks blinking and all that shit.
SOB.
Wow.
So yeah. And I've heard from enough people that it's built into the deal that they cannot release any other versions than the one that he sanctions
forever.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's a stipulation. I've heard one person did tell me that they'll probably find a loophole after he's dead, and then another person said, well, at least until he dies, that's the other way they put it. So
you're not going to get it, until you can watch this, but And these
because
guys
I've
do a
said
great
to
job
people, like, if you
explaining.
don't think that Disney wouldn't release the original unaltered Star Wars films on disc and in digital, if they could, you're on crack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they would be the biggest selling fucking Blu-rays of all time. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. They'd be
Right?
money hand over fist.
Yeah.
You could charge as much as you fucking want for those. And people are like,
$100.
"Here,
Take my money."
Well, I'll tell you right now, they put the original cut of Star Wars back in the theater. I'm going to buy a dozen tickets to that.
Everybody is, exactly.
I'm going to be there
Like,
every weekend, probably.
And if
twice.
anything, George would be in hindsight looked as a fucking genius, because it'd be like, you realize he just made his movies worth that much more because he kept them in a vault for so long. He's like, he looked at Disney and said, "Look what I can do," and say, he pulls them out right now, or let's say he does it in 2 years for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Wouldn't that be something?
God, yeah.
If he actually signs off and says, "Okay, you can release them."
Yeah, it would be the
Well,
new
look
Coke
at the special,
writ
look at
large.
the special editions too. The
See Star
super
Wars
deluxe,
the way you never thought you'd see them again.
The original way.
Completely
Super duper deluxe
remastered
version.
and unaltered.
Yeah, because that was the commercial you posted, Tom, on
One
X.
last time.
And why would they
fucking know?
But why did they say one last time? Because that was going to be the last VHS.
That's what everybody thought at the time. Because and then we just brought this up earlier too. Because this is where at least I think a lot of other people kind of were coming from. We knew DVD was on the horizon, right? Laserdisc was already kind of becoming that sort of mainstream thing, and DVD was being talked about and whispered about. We all knew the next thing was coming. And so when he said VHS one last time, we were like, you guys got to also understand, Star Wars got re-released on video every fucking year.
Yeah.
Like, like it wasn't like this was like, the only thing that was different about this version compared to any other version is they were quote unquote remastered in THX. And I couldn't tell you what THX really meant. Nobody could, because you know what it was? It was a fucking standard. That's all it was. It wasn't a process. There wasn't like some studio called THX Studio where they went and remastered these things.
No.
It was just a label where George owned a company where they would say, "Yep, you went through what we consider the minimal needing for this to be a complete remaster." It gets the THX seal of approval, and you pay George money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you get to slap that on your thing.
Well, the highest sound on this channel is this, and the lowest sound on this channel is that. So you are THX certified. Great job.
Yep. Well, it's not just the sound, but yes, you're 100% right. It's like basically you went through this process of remastering the film, and it passes. But like for the theater side of things, you're right. Like they actually would send out agents to theaters, and where you would see a plaque that say this theater's THX certified. That means one of Lucas's agents came in, they calibrated everything, making sure that every seat you sat in, you could see the picture correctly and you could hear everything correctly. That's all they did.
Yeah.
And if there was something wrong, they tell them to tweak this, and they come back and then they get their seal of approval. That's it. That's all THX really was.
Yeah. It was, and back then too, it was, and here's the classic, everyone, of a certain age owned this VHS trilogy set, and that I think that was this is the THX one that.
And all
that
it really was the
from.
digital remaster of the films. Let's be honest. That's all it really was.
Yeah.
But it was the last time you could get that unaltered Star Wars
version. Yeah.
Yeah. Until, of course,
and that's
then
how
they
I
had
know he scanned this. He scanned the films then, I think, and that's one of the ones that he used for the basis of the special editions.
Okay.
But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say too that then we did get that crappy version that was on the later 4K, but it was just the Laserdisc version, so it wasn't anamorphic, and it was like a subpar.
On that stupid DVD that they put as a special feature. Yeah, it's just the Gout.
And I didn't buy it.
Gout edition.
Gout. Yeah, it was. Gout edition.
I wouldn't buy it. I'm like, screw you. I'm not.
The Gout edition is this THX edition, is what it is.
Okay,
that's exactly
it's just the Laserdisc.
It's the Laserdisc version. For those who don't know, the Laserdisc came out the year before this version, and then they just changed the box. And then the video, also the widescreen THX editions actually predated a year, but then they just changed the box again. That's what I was saying. Like, these movies were released every damn year since they hit video. Like, even though they're marked like copyright, whatever, they were still released every year.
Were these letter? No, I don't have my VHS player.
They did have letterbox.
That one's
editions.
letterbox.
Were these full...
That one is letterbox. The one to the right, that's the wide box right there. That is the widescreen version that came out. I think that was 94.
Yeah, so they had letterbox.
I remember.
And they had the pan and scan. Yeah.
I remember the first time I got to see Star Wars in widescreen. Blew me away.
It's totally
different. Let's explain that to people too. So VHS tapes, TV's resolution is 4:3. Now we have all these widescreen monitors, and in the 50s to combat TV, movie theaters, old movies were basically was it 4:3? All the old movies,
they were all pretty much either 4:4 or 4:3, and then they came up.
But then in the 50s, they said, we got to compete. And then they had that 70 millimeter and super Panavision, and they had widescreen film. It was actually a big deal. So for years, whenever we had VHS tapes, they were always, we call it pan and scan, where it was, you never got the whole screen, or the few movies. I would always try to buy movies.
Crappy crop.
Yeah. And there's some great examples of that. And I remember having some VHS tapes I would buy that were widescreen, and people are like, why are those bars on the top of the bottom? How are you watching this? This is crap. Yeah. So here's like, that must be here we go. That's got to be Music Man. Yeah, Music Man here. Yeah.
Which is funny because I actually used because I had that when DVD first came out. I made a little diagram. And this was funny because it was even before Star Wars had hit DVD, so I still just used it as a widescreen comparison to show people on this like poster thing the difference, and because it was a movie everybody had seen, and they knew the shots and this, so like
I remember a comparison. I remember a great example of comparison from, I believe it was from the musical Oklahoma, where there's a musical part that's going on between two different actors, except they're on two completely different ends of the screen.
Grease has that problem too.
And so when they have to pan and scan, it basically has to snap back and forth. And
that's not even technically. I mean, it's not even really terrible. A pan and scan. It's like recreating an entire new shot, and that's what pissed Steven Spielberg off.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if you can still find it on YouTube or not, but he had this interview right before Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out on video, because he fought tooth and nail to get The Last Crusade only brought out in widescreen, but Paramount wouldn't let him. And the reasoning behind it was, he said, is you lose the effect of this film. He goes, in the pan and scan, you're either going back and forth between Indy and Sean Connery, or you're literally creating a new cut that I did not make there in the edit. And that's what pissed him off, because he goes, it is so important that you see these two on screen at the same time, because they're making the same, faces and other things like that are important to me to get across, that is completely lost in the full screen cut, or as we call it then, pan and scan. Because that's another thing that bothered me, and I had to get used to calling it that, because people didn't understand it, so they'd have full screen and widescreen. And full screen is a misnomer.
Yeah,
full screen is crap screen.
In most cases,
unless it was shot on 35 millimeter and they're giving you an open matte. And in which case, there's a debate there. It's like, okay, so I'm getting an open matte version, but I'm seeing things I'm not supposed to see. Exactly, and that's where we get instances where, well, this is a crappy movie because I can see the fucking microphone. Well, you weren't supposed to.
Yep.
Well, here's a great example here. So we watched it on VHS. I'm pretty sure my copy was a pan and scan on Star Wars. So the famous closing scene where they get their medals. You're not seeing 3PO and you're not seeing Chewbacca. Well, he doesn't get his medal anyway. But so you're only seeing part of the scene. Or what they would do, they would actually pan and scan, like Tom was saying. You'd start from here and you'd pan the camera across, and then maybe go back to these guys in the middle at the end. But someone would have to decide that in the editing room, like what part of the frame are you going to see, or and where would they go back, back and forth, back and forth.
And this is also why in the 70s, a lot of directors, famously like Kubrick and some others, decided to start shooting in Super 35 and having an open matte version for television and video.
Yep.
Because they knew otherwise their movie would get butchered, but they knew that it was going to have a longer life on video and television at that time than it was ever going to have in the theaters anymore.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch a pan and scan, there's some of them are done pretty well, but there are a lot of them that are done very
There's
poorly.
some famous bad ones,
And,
like Ghostbusters, for instance.
Yes, Ghostbusters. I was gonna say, yeah, where there's a panning shot, and they're doing the pan and scan during the panning shot, and so it leaves you with this just judder as it moves across the screen, and it's awful.
Well, and that was the thing is poor Harold Ramis and Rick Moranis were always getting cut off in the pan and scan cuts.
Yes, they were.
Of Ghostbusters, no matter what version it was, because the television version, funnily enough, was actually a completely new pan and scan version of Ghostbusters than the video was at that time. And that's when I kind of was like, something's weird. And that was kind of the first time I ever noticed something was off, and I didn't really kind of understand the concept until, a cousin finally explained it to me who had Laserdisc or whatever.
Yeah, Laserdisc, what a revelation that was.
And he showed me, and I could see the difference, right? And from that moment on, if I could get widescreen, my hands on widescreen, I would. Even though I didn't realize in some cases I was technically getting an inferior at the time because of video, because of open mat shit. I didn't realize that. So there were some movies I bought in widescreen that I could have gotten open mat, but whatever. Doesn't matter now.
Good night, Donnie. Have a great week.
Yeah, take care, Donnie.
Great to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And Marvel Star Wars Fanatic is here. Hey, how's it going? We're going great. Yeah. Great to have you here for real Star Wars Day.
Cottage thing on the internet. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's a whole community. Like the Star Wars films being scanned isn't an isolated thing. You can get all sorts of 35 millimeter scans, especially if they get their hands on the open mat version. Like there's a whole bunch of them out there, like Jurassic Park and some other ones.
Yeah, this is a great article on Wikipedia here. So this is a frame of 35 millimeter film, and the yellow is widescreen, aspect ratio. And then the red is 4:3 for television.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, they could pan, they could pick part of what are they going to show, and that's part of the editing process. 1.85 and 1.33.
Yeah, and back in the day, it was even worse because you also had to have your safety zone around the edges as well.
Yeah,
and so it meant you got to see even less of the picture.
Yeah. Well, then you even had people like James Cameron, who famously liked his pan and scan version of Terminator 2 more than he did the widescreen version, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's because it's a Super 35 open mat. That's why, because he filmed it in that respect. Like he went.
This is an open mat here,
himself. Yeah.
So this is open mat version. Yep. Or some TV shows, interestingly too, like ER. I just got I have owned some copies of ER, and then I saw on the interwebs they had widescreen versions, and they'd actually filmed it in preparation.
That was one of the first shows. Yep.
Yeah,
they did. The people behind Deep Space Nine did the same. They always shot it with the idea in mind that it would be cut into widescreen.
I am honestly not sure. I've been trying to figure this out for years. I think I know the first show that might have been shot for widescreen, but they don't even know it. And you know what it might be? Lois and Clark. And the reason I say this is because, and I don't even know if anybody at Warner Brothers is aware of this unless they go back to the original negatives. Because if you watch the versions that we have on TV, like the pilot episode, especially, this is the one I'm talking about, you can tell it's pan and scanned because they have the Comic-Con footage on there that is like an extended preview for Lois and Clark, and it is in widescreen. And there's shit on the left and right that is not on the screen in the cut off version. So I'm sitting here going, did they shoot this fucking show in widescreen before ER did? And it was right around that same era, just before. They may have. And I don't know if anybody over at Warner Brothers is still aware of that.
So you're saying Lois and Clark look spectacular?
And by the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
Spectacular. At least the first episode was anyway, that's for sure. But it was never carried over in widescreen. So, yeah, I wonder how many other shows were shot like that we don't know about yet, that they just never really bothered to go back and find that out.
Yeah, because I was shot. Oh, and MASH too. MASH. Hulu has a widescreen HD version of MASH up. If you want to watch MASH.
Well, some of those shows that got lucky that were shot on film, so there was the safety on the sides, like R2 was just bringing up. So if you'll notice, they actually do open up the mat a little bit on the sides, and that way they don't lose as much on the top and bottom.
Exactly.
Some cases they do, but yeah, like there's some of those older shows they've gotten lucky. Now, this is where Robert Meyer Burnett brought up with Star Trek The Next Generation. There was a problem there. They could have done the same thing, but the way the sets were and everything, and they knew they weren't going to be using that portion of the screen, You get like the edge of the set. You get a microphone.
All sorts of C stands and lights and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
So they couldn't really do anything with it at that time. But now with AI, that's another thing that AI is adding.
They might be able to fix it. Yeah. And hail to Oliver and Diamond G. Oh, great Punisher logo. And Marvel's actually bringing back the Punisher logo and Frank Castle in a few months. The real Punisher instead of the one that was stuck in limbo. So there's a new adult, rated Max series coming out in a few months. I just saw that news. That was one of the things we were going to talk about tonight. But yeah, great Punisher logo. So Marvel wants to make money again, maybe, right? Instead of banning the Punisher, Marvel and Disney.
But just to kind of wrap all this up, there's the various sizes of film. There's 35, there's Super 35, there's 65, there's 70 millimeter.
Yeah,
70 millimeter being the biggest. Which I believe they still use for IMAX today, but they just put it on its side.
Isn't there an IMAX or IMAX? Oh, that's turned sideways, or the 70 millimeter?
I think what they do is they put it on its side so they can get more of the
picture, right? Because IMAX is considered the biggest. Yeah, Lawrence of Arabia.
Film is kind of funky. It just it's whatever your camera films it at. So they just found out that they get a wider, or whatever they do to it.
IMAX is incredible.
And then they use special lenses to bring it in and put it on there. It's just like using anamorphic on a 35, where you use a special lens to film it, but then when you project it back out, it's rectangular instead of square.
Yeah.
Dune to a 70 millimeter IMAX film. Yep, only 12 in the world. Yeah,
that's the sad. Is I have never been able to experience it my entire life, and that's one thing I wish I had, is been able to see true 70 millimeter film.
It's glorious. Not to make you feel bad, but it's.
I've heard it looks amazing. I've heard some people say that seeing a 70 millimeter print rivals some 4K Blu-rays.
It's ridiculous.
Well, it would, yeah. It's because it's got a higher. It's got a higher quality than a 4K as far as resolution
aspect.
Look how big the film is. Yeah. There's 35.
Well, this is where I've heard people say, "Oh, 4K, that's more than it." It's like you do realize that they still haven't quite figured out how much it really would take to scan like a 70 millimeter film. In actuality, it's probably like 7 or 8K. I bet.
Yeah, it's gonna be closer
maybe
to
16K,
8.5 to 9K probably. The 4K is
close to 35 millimeter.
Is really close to what the grain would be on a 35 millimeter negative. But
and 70 millimeter scans have looked amazing, but that's the beauty of it, right? Like you take something that's a real good scan and you bump it down, right? Like I've seen some of the best looking Blu-rays come from 4K scans, right? Like. It's because you're downsampling that to a.
So it depends on your TV size. Your TV is small too.
Well, that's true too. If you're somebody who's listening, if you got a TV that's less than like 50 inches, then 4K shouldn't really be one of your priorities unless you're sitting 5 feet away from the TV.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less than that, but
in that case, like HDR makes more of a difference than the 4K. But,
and most people don't even really notice that, or they just gripe that it makes the picture too dark.
Yeah, so I've seen
that's the other problem. There's too many variances in the HDR and who's doing the calibration of the film. That I've ran into that issue more than anything.
Yeah, so I've seen. I went to see Rogue One at in Norwalk, the Maritime Center. There, they tore down the IMAX theater, but I got to see that. That print was glorious. 1970, I thought was an okay movie, but visually it was incredible. And the movie theater, the screen is like, it seems like it's 100 feet tall. Then there's a Westchester. They have a real, it's like the real IMAX. There's these small IMAXs that are like IMAX Lite,
which are fake IMAXs or
fake IMAXs. Yeah, I mean they're much better than a regular theater. And but I usually go see the Dolby. I always say Dolby, the Dolby Digital.
Yeah,
I go see that because they've got the reclining seats.
I think there's something like less than 50 actual real IMAXs left.
Yeah,
or something
like all we've got is that Mini Max. That's the best we've got here.
So, but I saw Rogue One. I saw 1917, and of course, if you go to the Smithsonian, they have an IMAX theater. At least when I was
that's
there,
where they originated, is through the museums. Yeah, and then AMC bought the name basically.
So those are, some of those documentaries are incredible, but they're technical like space travel, the Apollo mission, and the story of the 787 Dreamliner. And it was funny because like I love airplanes and that's the kind of stuff you can geek out. I'm like, my wife just flew to France. I'm like, oh, how was the 787? She's like, what's a 787? I'm like, oh, the plane. You were on the 787 Dreamliner. I'm like, remember when we went to the IMAX in the 90s and saw the movie on the making of the Dreamliner? She's like, who the fuck did I marry? Like, what are you talking about? But I was laughing about it. She's like, oh, it was nice. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just if you get a chance to go see anything in IMAX, it's just amazing. And Time Warren Lyman saying, yeah, Star Wars is 48 years old. The New Hope is 44 years old. Yep. Oh, and Eric is 75 inches, but he's thinking of going up to 86. Well, go for it. Yep. And 6 has a 32-inch TV, 6 feet away, but usually scrolling through Twitter while watching it anyway. Yeah, I mean, the TVs are so cheap now, too. If you have the room, like, get a 55-inch TV is what, like $150 these days?
Ooh,
or
yeah. My 75-inch OLED wasn't that cheap, but
but then the quality too. Like you look at all the features.
God. It's unbelievable.
Like I have every 10 years I get to buy a new TV. I'm teasing my wife. I love her, but like I'm like, it's time for the new TV. So I have my first. Was it 55-inch? My
Most
first
of them are
real
4K
HD
now
TV.
anyway. Yeah.
But I have it up at work. I put it in our conference room, just threw it on the. God, the thing weighs like 60 pounds. It's like, and then my latest TV I got when I turned 50, which is that's getting to be. So I'm getting closer to a new TV when I hit 60. Good, but it was 65-inch TV, 4K, and the thing is so much lighter, but just the features that you have on these TVs too. The picture quality, everything filters down, so. You don't really have to spend that much money these days to get a decent 4K TV. But yeah, 6 is right. Yeah, depending on how far away, it's overkill if you're 6 feet away and you have a 90-inch TV. But someday they're going to have.
Saying it all depends on your viewing.
Yeah. I was real skeptical about spending money on that OLED until I actually sat down and watched a movie on it.
It was that good. Yeah,
best money I ever spent.
Yeah,
incredible.
And Marvel Star Wars Fanatic has a 43-incher. Yep. And 6 says, we need to get rid of a bookshelf if I got a bigger TV. Not going to happen. Yep. And Hale Snell was great to see. He says, if I have 65-inch 4K, that's what I have. But honestly, it's crap. It's all down to pixel size, just like CRT TVs. Yep. Yeah, you can. There's different quality, and there are all different ways they do it. And mine is pretty. I researched it to the end of time, but it came out pretty good.
Yep. And you also got the magic ratio for how big the TV is versus how close you're sitting to it, and so on. Yeah.
Well, you know what I used to do? We had a 4x3 Sony, CRT TV. I think it was HD, one of the old tanks. But like I love sports or the Rangers, or Yankees. I would actually hook up a projector. I put a poster board in front of my TV, and I had it wasn't 4K, but it was widescreen at least, and I'd use the projector off the cable box to watch sports, so I could get, especially hockey, I'd watch it like that for years, just so I could get a widescreen picture. I can't believe I still did that. Set the projector up on like a stand, or I'd watch movies, projected in my living room, but like a portable setup, not like with the screen that would come down or anything, but. I was a fanatic over that, over picture quality. And now, I mean, you can, if you really want to have a great setup, do a home theater with a projector. You can throw a ton of money into an abyss there. I mean, some of the projectors are $20,000 and, up if you go crazy. Yeah. But you can get a pretty good projector for, $1,000. I'm going to say these days, maybe even 500. Brian, you still got a plasma. Wow, I'm surprised that works. But the blacks and the plasma are reputed to be the best. The best. I don't know if the LCDs are catching
that
up
and
now,
that and OLED. Yeah, because
and OLED.
Just like with the OLED and the plasmas, essentially black. Because you can turn the pixels all the way off, whereas with LED, LCD TVs, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah. So, my dream was always my friends would tease me get the bridge of Star Wars, the bridge of Star Trek, and have the TV. I've seen some home theaters like that with the the viewing screen and the seats there. Yep. But in college, I had like a 13-inch color TV with antennas, and that's when we watched Star Trek every night. We saw the premiere of Encountered Farpoint, Next Generation on that. It was fine. Yeah. So 6 is I could watch a movie on my phone. I don't care. Yeah.
Some people are like that. Like,
Yeah,
I can't knock that. Like, if that's your thing and you're cool with that, like, look, Klobby was one of those that was the same way. I tried buying him a TV. I don't know how many fucking times.
Yeah, you kept trying to, and he told me about it behind the scenes.
Really? Okay, so
yes.
I kept telling him, like, dude, let me buy you a TV. He's like, no. I'm like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. It's like $150, $200. Like, just let me buy you a decent TV. He's like,
yeah,
because he kept talking about his TV being broke all the damn time. I'm like, dude,
it was, yep.
I'm like, just let me buy you a fucking TV. Like, what the hell? But he wouldn't. He just would not.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this, and then and
he would say like, "Well, my eyes are shit anyway," and like,
he would drive me crazy. Well, here's a request from RobAltis.
Get those nerds! Nerds! What?
So Klobby, God bless him. Yeah, I sent him a Roku because I had set it up so I had my Plex server so we could watch stuff, and that way you could catch some more things. But he actually sent me what the model of his TV, and his TV had no antenna input because he wanted to watch sports. I'm like, well, Mike, you can get an HD antenna and just hook it up. But unfortunately, he had this weird TV, and it's like, Tom is trying to send me a TV. I'm not taking anything from anyone. That was just him. It wasn't anything against Tom or me or anyone who, loved to send him
I could tell he was just being stubborn.
Yeah, he didn't. But people did
send him stuff,
and he
Men
didn't
are
love
like
it.
that,
Yeah. And I think his son had, maybe it was his son's TV. I don't know if it was Jonathan's TV. I'm not sure, but he said it always looked kind of green, and it never worked right. And
he just came up with 20 excuses for me not to.
Yeah,
like, so just like, whatever.
We're finally with the Roku.
No,
Yeah, we all miss him and love him. Yeah. But I finally sent him the Roku. I'm like what I would have to do is have to send him something without telling him. I didn't send him that much stuff, but I'd be like, check your mail today. So there's something coming in the mail. So what do I'm like, I sent you a Roku. I'm like, I had an extra one. I got a new one for free, or a BS or something, So that's how he was able to watch a lot of stuff through my with me sending him that Roku. But I kept trying to tell him, like, oh, just let Tom send you the TV.
He wouldn't give me his address, or I would have.
Yeah. I wish I had known. If
I'd have thought about it, I should have asked around. I didn't think of that, but like, he would not. He would not budge on that one, no matter what. Because I'm like, let me send you some movies and a Blu-ray player, or whatever. Like, no. Because I told him, like, I don't have a problem with that. It's not that big of a deal. It's like I just ordered through Amazon. I don't even have to worry about the shipping. No. Just, he's not here about it. I'm like, I won't even get you anything that fancy. No. I can't see for shit anyway. I'm fine with it. I don't need it. I don't care. He just kept saying stuff like that.
I'm like, yeah, but you could see better.
He wasn't being rude, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, God, he just didn't want to. He didn't want to put anyone out, right? Yeah, he didn't. He appreciated everyone, but he didn't want to.
Well, I told him, like, dude, you're here for almost every single show. Like, you don't ask for nothing. Like, it's not that big of a deal, dude. I'm like, it's the least I can do. He's like, no. He just wouldn't let me do it. But anyhow, like I said, some people will be fine with whatever they have, and they're not going to care. They're going to be fine with a DVD or a VHS as far as that goes, right?
Yeah. Well, I did put the foot down on my son because he has a big. Well, not back then. It was probably a 40-inch TV in his bedroom. And he was watching Game of Thrones on his phone. No offense, Six. I'm like, Charlie, you got to watch Game of Thrones there's a TV right there. I can understand it, like if you're mobile or like you're laying on your bed watching Game of Thrones because I could hear the dialogue. I'm like, why don't you put the TV in? It's like, I'm fine. I just watch it on my phone. I'm like, you can't watch Game of Thrones on your phone. And he was laughing. We're teasing me about it. And I'm like, you got good eyes too. Wait till you're in your 50s to see what your eyes are like. Yeah. So it was just a fun moment. Yeah, because
that's kind of why I keep getting bigger TVs, to be honest.
Eyes get worse.
I'm going through it now. My eyes aren't getting worse. No, I don't need a bigger TV every time I get a new TV. I'm not compensating for shit.
Yeah, right. Oh, Marvel Star Wars fanatic has a good question. Should I invest in a 4K Ultra HD player? I use my Xbox Series X for my 4K disc. Would a 4K player be higher quality?
It doesn't really matter in that respect.
Not really.
Yeah,
not really.
I mean, I have a
But-
top of the line Oppo DVD player, which unfortunately HD DVD, which unfortunately is out of. They went out of business. Well, they don't make the damn Oppos anymore. But that was considered one of the better Blu-ray players.
This is why I was going to say, you might, if you have the chance to pick one up at a decent price and you can afford it, I would just to have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They may stop making them altogether. Yes.
And
That's
if you're
my
somebody who
DVD
plays a lot
player.
of Xbox, you don't want to burn it out either, or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's my DVD player, and I got it just the year before they stopped making it. Oppo was considered one of the better ones, and then they had the autofile version. So
the other problem is the Xbox is one of the cheaper 4K players. It always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to buy one now and just have it. Right? I'm dreading the day. God forbid.
I have a
if anything-
backup. Yeah.
I do have a few of them, but I don't have anything that's as good as this Oppo. So if it does go,
Well, what
I'm
you
kind of
have is
dreading it.
actually, if you have an Oppo, those are actually very sought after.
Those are good. Yeah. The higher end Panasonics, real good. Don't waste your money on a Sony.
I don't hate the BD 700 I got. It works fine for a lot of things. It does have quirks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it does have quirks, but it does have Dolby Vision, which a lot of the Panasonic ones don't have.
Yeah, the lower end Panasonics don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I think
again,
this one
most
has
of these
Dolby Vision,
players,
yeah.
it's more or less what you want for functionality. Because picture-wise, to answer that last question, your TV matters more than your player. Usually, when it comes to these kind of things,
Yeah.
I know back in the day it used to be different. Like your VCR and your TV mattered, but when it comes to sending digital video, as long as you got the proper cables, it's more about the presentation of your television than anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
sure,
different-
your player might have some bells and whistles, like an up convert for older DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. But
Yep.
yeah.
The different players, they may support different output formats. So you might want to, if you have a TV, you got to consider what output formats your TV can accept.
Right.
And then the other thing is, the more expensive players, they're just going to respond faster. They're going to process the videos more quickly. They're going to play the Blu-rays more quickly. Whereas with the cheaper ones, you're going to be sitting and waiting for a little bit, like a loading screen on a video
the big
game.
difference there. Yeah, that's another point. Yeah.
But
And
it's not. It doesn't ruin the experience. It's just, it's simply just something
Just a
you're
little
going to have to
slower.
understand. It's going to be slower in loading the discs.
Yeah,
But
and
even that
Snail's got
Sony-
that NVIDIA Shield. That's a great. That's streaming and and Brian, he did love that thing. He had that thing statue up prominently where he could always see. Yeah, we sent him that thing statue and some action figures.
Statue of himself, you mean?
Yeah. Oh no, the thing. Yeah, right. This right. You got me. Yep. Yeah. Had to end up just sending Clobby stuff. He always refused. Yeah.
It's clobbering times.
Clobbering times. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the thing I'm
we
dreading
always
too about this player is, it's got Dolby Vision. It came out just in time for 4K Ultra, and it's got all the. But what if they come out with like Super Dolby, Pro Vision
I don't think they will
3?
at this point,
But if they did, like, then this player is not going to have it.
Yeah,
'cause
you
they're
could have
not
got
updated.
updates at the time, but like if they don't do them now, then it's hard to say.
The last
Unless it's a
update I got, I
hardware
think, was
based.
a couple of years ago. But it's a beautiful.
I was
beautiful
gonna say,
player. The
I
other
don't worry
thing-
too much because a lot of people love this thing. So even if they don't do updates, fans will do.
That's true. They're probably a fan update or.
Even that thing even plays SACDs. Look at that. That's one
it's
upside of the
amazing.
Sony player.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I was trying
Yeah.
to say, R2, don't undersell that Sony, the one I was talking about, the BD 700 or whatever, because it plays SACDs as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you listen to an SACD, I've only got a few of them, but it's just unbelievable. Or I love the Beatles, and bought a bunch of those and gotten those as presents. The new box sets of the Beatles, and you listen to like Sgt. Pepper's or the White Album. They have a uncompressed audio on DVD. It's just phenomenal. The DVD audio. It's like
and
you
SACD's
flip
a
the
lot
switch.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you flip it and you're like you're in the room with the Beatles. I mean, it's just unbelievable. As my kids came downstairs, Dad, could you turn down the music? I'm like, this is my house.
That's
damn it.
like the weirdest thing ever. Your kids telling the dad to turn the music down.
Turn the music down. And they've got a Tom. I wish I wish you like you guys were closer. Like stop over and hear it. Like they've got it's a surround sound 5.1 mix that Giles Martin did on so you've heard him, right? Yeah, just when you flip the switch on that. I mean, yeah, but the great thing is
hearing shit in the White Album I never heard before.
Right? But they also have the original mono mix too if you want that, which is the great thing about it. So you can get everything, yeah. So that was just so awesome. Yep. My kids watch rips for DVDs on their phones and their iPads.
You know, another thing about
the stereo is important too. Well, stereo is important too if you want to have all the watching a movie through a sound bar. See,
that bothers me more than some other situations is when people got like sound bars and shit.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't as bad as others.
Always here.
Yeah. I get it in some cases if you don't have the room for it. Oh, of course he is.
Yeah. Hey, Paulie.
But yeah, the another thing about that Sony player R2 is it does have a good up converter. I guess some people are really like. I think it's fine. I'm like whatever, but. Yeah.
The up convert on that Panasonic is fantastic.
I haven't seen that one, so I can't speak to that one. But
the
other one I got is a LG. And this is a funny story because I happened to stumble across it at a Goodwill, and they only wanted like $10 for it. I'm like, I don't think they realize what they have here. Because this is back when 4K players were still pretty brand new, and I'm like, whatever. I bought it. I ended up paying more for the fucking remote because it didn't have a remote with.
I see. It was
like $15 for the remote on eBay, but like, luckily it was like just a standard LG remote. But
yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah. Well, what you had just on Twitter, you'd put in something about this is a good thing to talk about. Just the movies. The studios aren't making money now that they're streaming, right? Instead of
the Warner Brothers story. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull that up real quick. We can talk about that. And then, do you get a chance to see Sinners yet, or
not yet? I saw you send me something about that, but I haven't had a chance.
Yeah. Okay. You have a chance. No. Yeah. But yeah. So what was amazing? Yeah. It's like they all thought they were going to make bank on having streaming services, and wow, that didn't work.
Imagine that they realized finally they're the underwear gnomes, just like we were telling them they were.
Yeah. So because a lot of movies made a ton of money, right, off of DVDs, right? Some cases they made more money than the theatrical releases.
There's a lot of films where, like, I mean, the whole reason we have, I mean, even just not just DVD, but video in general, I mean, the whole reason we have non-existent sequels to Highlander is because of video sales, because that movie bombed in theaters,
Oh, that didn't Highlander didn't do that well in the theaters?
No, it did really bad.
Bombed horribly.
It did bad.
Oh, wow.
It did a bit better in the UK than it did here, but it did so bad that, like, the only reason it exists is the videos. If it wasn't for the videos, then and you'll have that in the 90s and into the aughts. You had a lot of and this is where Matt Damon and Vince Vaughn and Ben Affleck have talked about this more recently, because those were guys who used to make movies in that time period, and that's how they could make those kind of movies. It's because even though they cost $15-20 million to make, maybe 30 million in some cases if you have a big cast, like something like Old School probably costs a little bit more, for instance. Didn't matter. Because even if they only made $30-40 million at the box office, even if they didn't tap 100 million, the DVD sales alone would make up for that. And then you had the ancillary sales that they've also killed over the years that are also hurting them, right? Since cable and network television has pretty much died, and there's no reason for you to watch a movie on TV anymore, right? On standard terrestrial television. They've killed everything that has to do with seeing film, right? We've talked about this endlessly for years now. And the fact that Warner Brothers misses the days when we bought, it's because they're not making the kind of money they used to make when it comes to streaming. Because it's one boom and it's done.
Yep.
And if you don't want to buy the VOD, you just wait a month and it's already on HBO Max or Paramount Plus or Peacock or Netflix or Amazon.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, there's no point, right? Or don't go to the movie theater, right? So, yep. Oh, and Oliver is saying production designer of Leslie
sadly saw that.
Yeah,
Les Tilly passed.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But no, it's funny you mentioned that, Mark, because I talk to my normie people, my friends and family whenever I can. And I ask these certain questions when I know things are going on. And one of the main things I always ask them is, do you go to the theater still? And if you don't or do, what's stopping you or what's making you, right? And the number one thing I keep hearing is, no, I'm not going. And the reason why is why should I when in 30 days I can see it on fucking streaming?
Yeah, why would I bother if I can watch it on streaming? And that's the thing that amazes me about what they think that the box office they think they're going to have for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Well,
they're going to figure that out
gonna bother.
later.
No one's going to bother. They know they watched the whole rest of the show on Disney Plus. Anyone who's still watching that is just going to wait and watch it on Disney Plus. It's ridiculous.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, it's things like that when they're going to start realizing we're not making the $1 billion even anymore like we used to. We're not making enough money to even break even, and we don't have any other ways of making money when we're selling it to ourselves. Right?
Yep.
Like that's the biggest problem of all is you don't have the HBOs and the Showtimes anymore to buy your movies. You don't have the ABCs, NBCs, and all that stuff that are interested in your movies anymore. And those were big paydays. And beyond that, I mean, when a movie comes out right away, nobody's going to want to go see it in the theater. It's like almost like us. That's like a fucking that's like a bonus for people like us. Cause all three of us will sit here and be the first to tell you, we know what it's like to have to wait 6 months to a year to see your movie on home video.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. That's why you definitely, like, if Terminator's coming out, there's no way I'm not going to go see it in the movie theater because it could be 6 months or a year.
It could be a while, yeah.
Yeah, but now you just, some of these movies that don't do well, then they just throw them in after a couple of weeks. Like, didn't Mickey 17, wasn't that out? And didn't they put that
already on disc, yeah.
But that was all, I think, 2 weeks out. It was flopped.
Like
it was already on video
with the
on
flops,
demand.
I can kind of understand. See, that I don't have so much a problem with. But look at a movie like a great example is this year. Nosferatu should probably be one of the bigger movies of this last year here. But those dumb bastards took it out of fucking theaters after 18 days.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Why? For no good other fucking reason. No reason. It was
And
starting to
Sinners
increase.
did.
Yeah, Sinners is a good example. Thank you. Yeah. But that was where they had stipulation, and Coogler made sure. I think he's got a 90-day window on that thing.
Good, that was smart. Yep. And hail to Courtney. So don't be sorry. Oh, don't be sorry you couldn't make it, Courtney.
Oh, sorry.
Have a great Memorial Day and much love to everyone. And that was funny because I just put up subliminal sub to Courtney and it popped up.
He was thinking about you.
Yeah, the bot was thinking about you. Yep. But yeah, what, like, other than like a kids event, like that's why I think Lilo and Stitch is gonna just kill it this
It's doing
weekend.
very well.
Yeah, let's check the box office on
that's
that.
Going to be the movie to beat this summer.
Yeah, even more than Minecraft, I think.
Jurassic might surprise. That's one I never want to count out, right? Like I know.
Yeah.
Because every time I think this is it, we're done with this shit.
We're done, right?
It's dinosaurs.
Kids love dinosaurs. There's a new crop of kids.
And Black Widow's in it.
That's the only thing is like I'm not so sure on this one because it's like you have zero connection to the old film, so you're not going to be really bringing many adults to this one, right? This is going to be primarily a lot of the kids, unless you really like Black Widow being in it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. What's her name? Howard. She's not in because what was the Pratt, the Howard?
None of them are, and
none of them, right?
And I guess. I'm trying to remember. Did Jurassic World, the first one, have any of the? Just had Wong in it, I think.
I don't remember.
So,
yeah.
I could be wrong.
Did that first movie come in the early '90s? Wasn't Jurassic Park Spielberg?
Jurassic Park 1 came out in '93. Jurassic Park 2 came out in '97. Right.
Right.
And then 3 came out in 2001. And then Jurassic World came out in 2015. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think any of the original actors were really like the main cast. I don't think we're in that one. So
yeah,
no,
I could be wrong on this. It could fucking do well. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, and it's a fun movie. Like you want to go to like as much as I love comedies, it's so easy to get a comedy. You know, you don't have to wait for a comedy. So like, or you don't need to see it on the big screen. You're like, yeah, there's a Spinal Tap and the Sure Thing that I love, but
yeah.
You know, today, you know, back then I was going to, as a teenager, you go to every weekend we went to see a movie. Sometimes Friday, Saturday night, we'd see 2 movies on the weekend, depending, or go see a movie twice or whatever. But it's so damn expensive to go to a movie now too. So yeah, and the family, and then as who was saying before, there's Brian was saying, there's people talking on their phones, and just ridiculous behavior in the movie theaters. And once in a while, it's fun if you get that crowd experience. But if you got people talking behind you, and then God, you're worried if you say something, then it's gonna be fight or something. So it's just ridiculous sometimes how people behave. But it's just you just wait, like you're gonna wait, right? So of course, if it's a big sci-fi movie, a spectacle, I'm gonna go want to go see that. And of course, I've gone to see all the Marvel movies.
I never used to be that way, though. I would just go see a movie just to go see a movie, and that's
right
where streaming also fucked with it. Yeah, like it's like, and this because you're right. Like I never used to think of those kind of things, Mark, prior to streaming, to where I'm like, is this even really worth going to see in the theater? Because I was already kind of getting burnt out on digital. Like, look, at first it was kind of cool to see films in this pristine quality, because seeing films in film for years, especially where I lived in where it was like the ass end of nowhere, to where a lot of times I didn't get to see films until they were in what is called the second tier,
right?
So like run. 3 to 4 months after they'd initially hit theaters, you'd get a movie, and what you would end up getting is the rundown prints from these bigger cities. So by the time I got to see movies, they look like shit.
Because we had like in our little where we lived in Stanford, we could walk to the movie theater, which is phenomenal. It's closed now. It's so sad, but it was an old school movie theater that showed, I guess we call it second run, and Pulp Fiction. We went to see that there, and that was like their biggest hit ever. They had so many people, but you just go and you could see the movie for like $5, but it was it was later. It was great because we could walk. It was so great those days.
Yeah, those $1.50 theaters or buck theaters.
I was gonna say, that was me. I got to see a lot of stuff because growing up, we didn't have a lot of disposable income, so I got to see a lot of films in the dollar theater that was on the other end of town, because they were cheap enough that we could go and we could catch a movie. But
it was late, or you'd saw it, but you didn't. You were going to the movie theater, so you didn't mind. And it was so sad when I looked it up, like, oh, that movie theater closed. That stunk that it closed. But it was and then we had a video place, 222 Video. Then it was probably a bad idea, but the name of the store was the price of what it cost to rent a videotape. So $2.22. I always tease the guy, like, you can't raise the price because you got to change your name and change the sign. But it was just so nice to be able to go
now
see.
It'd be more like 2 videos for $22, but
right, but like Pulp Fiction, you weren't going to see that for a year, probably, right? So that's why these second run theaters could do so well, because you'd see the movie in the movie theater before it was going to even before you had a chance. Plus, it was the DVDs did get cheap, but you still were $20.
That was kind of the first time I remember things kind of being like different, like, because you're right, like, because back in the video days, unless it was a sell-through movie, and even then, like, look at Who Framed Roger Rabbit's a great example. That movie didn't come out until Christmas of '89, I think it was, or '88, or like, it was way after the movie came out. It was almost a year, I know that, because I didn't get it till like the following Christmas. That's all I remember. and like, so like that was a norm, right? E.T. didn't come out on video for like 5-6 years, right? The Star Wars films, we were talking about them earlier. The first Star Wars film didn't hit video till '82, and you couldn't even buy it. It was a rental only. We were talking about that with Robert Meyer Burnett earlier.
Rental only.
And so, like, I mean, this was kind of a new thing for us to be able to have a movie at home and be able to watch it anytime you wanted. And then when DVD came along, because like Laserdisc was in the background, like I mentioned earlier, so that kind of prepped us a little bit.
That was a niche. So that was
a very
real
niche thing. And I don't even think the studios were ready for what DVD ended up doing. I think they thought it was going to do a little bit better maybe than Laserdisc. But I don't even know if they were really, because it took them like 2 or 3 years to kind of really ramp up and be prepared for DVD once it first flooded the market. And the fact that the PS2 could play DVDs really helped.
And it played really
you mentioned
well,
that
too.
because I was just gonna say, like, I remember installing Windows 95 when I did some computer consulting, and like one of the demo discs had a Weezer video, a music video. You remember that, the Weezer music video on Windows 95, and what song was that? Was that
It was the
Buddy
Sweater
Holly?
song. No, yeah, it was Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, right? Great Weezer song. And I'd play it, and like people would flip out that you could play a video. I'm like, it's a freaking TV, but like multimedia. They called it multimedia back then in the Stone Ages. And you could play like a Weezer video or music videos. That was like the big deal. And they had, I still have it, like the CDs where they had like the movie, what would they call it, Cinephile, or it was like Microsoft, and they had, it was basically Wikipedia for movies. But it was,
is that the one that had all the trailers and stuff on it?
Yeah.
I think we had that in school. Yeah, and it had like a deal with like Warner's and Universal. I think Sony all had like trailers on there or something like that. I think it was something like whatever you said it was called. I don't remember what it was called.
Cinemedia or something.
Cinemedia, something or other. Yeah, because I remember it had like all the Nightmare on Elm Street trailers and all kinds of other cool shit on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what. You'd play trailers, and you're like, "Holy, this is so cool!" On Cinemania.
And you guys got to understand, this is way, way, way before YouTube and shit. So to be able to kind of just access trailers like this, and it wasn't even a norm yet to have trailers. Like I remember one of my first DVDs. That's all it was trailers. Like it was a demo disc from Warner Brothers. And
here it is.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I remember that. Yep, that's the one we had in school. Holy shit, that's tiny.
Yeah, tiny. Yeah, let me open image a new tab. Yep.
Yeah.
But this was like Wikipedia for movies, and then they had some of the Star Wars clips on it. I'm like, I can play Star Wars clips. They had the Luke.
They had clips and trailers. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and remember the full motion video CDRs that you could get at the time.
Yeah, I still have some of those.
Yes, I do. I still have some of those. I have a Star Wars themed one that was a joke. It was all a gag, and I cannot remember. The name
there
of
it is. Yes, Cinemania 95. Yeah,
the Star Wars one was actually pretty neat. I used to have it, and I think I still have one of the discs, and I lost the other one. But it was like the Secrets Behind the Magic or Behind the Magic or something like that. And that was the first time we saw those deleted scenes with Biggs and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah. So this was like you had to buy all this multimedia stuff, and then Wing Commander, was it Wing Commander 2 or no? Was it 3? Was a huge DVD or CD game with Mark Hamill. Was it Wing Commander 3?
It was one of them.
Yeah, Commander 3 had Hamill,
Yeah, so this had Hamill. So what year did this come out? This was a big deal in terms of like video on your computer. So they cut screens in this. 1994. 94. So I think the internet, AOL is starting to take off then, and the internet, we got Bill Clinton in office, and the internet's starting to take off.
I'm so old. I remember Prodigy internet. Do you guys remember that shit?
Yep. Prodigy. Yep. So, and I had my first one was Genie. Genie Internet Access. Yes, it was GENIE, and it was GE's Internet. So, welcome to Genie. Yeah, user ID online, and then it turned out it was like it was a dial-up service. So that was that. Oh, that's the logo. That's the logo. Yeah. Dial-up. That was the logo. So that was a killer. Yeah, it was just nuts. Yep. So I know I have that CD. If I didn't have a cat sleeping, I'd go find it. Yeah. So not that we're like saying get off my, not get off my lawn, but it was just a different world, and now it's so accessible. Like, why bother going to the movie theater?
Right.
And that's why Tom Cruise has done such a great job of trying to promote. But we're not going to go much longer here. I got a parade to go to, so let's we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, to finish up my point with the whole DVD thing is, only some videos were always sell through on video, but once we got to DVD, they marketed it like Laserdisc, and that was kind of what I was getting at, to where everything was for sale right away, and you had the special features and all that kind of stuff, and it just took off with people, right?
Yeah,
and you could own any movie that came out right away, and it completely changed the landscape and home theaters and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that kind of was the beginning of it, but even then, it still was a mechanism that was fed into by the theatrical release of the film.
Yeah.
Right. Here
they work hand in hand.
Right. Well, and as far as Mission Impossible, look, this isn't Tom Cruise's fault, because most of the people that are seeing the movie are seeing it for him. I think the biggest problem here is you've got franchise fatigue. Right. Let's be frank.
How many
about this.
Mission Impossibles is this?
We are on Mission Impossible 8. Let me remind you, folks, that's when Jason took Manhattan.
Yep. Yep.
We have gotten to the point where this franchise has almost as many movies as they do episodes of the TV series.
Wow. Yeah, right. Yeah, there is, like the superhero fatigue, but I also think that, there's part of that, and also crappy.
And it's 3 hours long.
Movies. 3 hours long. And Memorial Day weekend, you got kids. People with kids are going to take their movie to go see Lilo and Stitch, and let's see what it did. So it's at 183 million.
It's pretty much made all its money back and then some already. Yeah.
So how much did Snow White make total?
Oh, it's made more than Snow White already, I believe.
Already, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Snow White made
280.
Made one
worldwide.
Yeah. So Minecraft is. Let's do worldwide. Worldwide. Yep. So
Ninja.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's in China, made $1 billion. That's why they keep trying to. They hope they get the China market. Minecraft is almost $1 billion.
Lilo and Stitch is just crawling up that list quicker than shit.
Yep.
Yeah, so gonna hit that. Yeah, so Captain America, Brave New World is 400. Thunderdolts is 355.
I can't believe Brave New World is that high.
Yeah.
Wow,
I think
total.
Disney pushed it over 400. I think they bought.
Well, the
tickets.
international box office helps that. Like you take the international out, that's a little different story. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. 214 foreign, 200 domestic. Yep. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch, Snow White. Yeah, like everyone's saying, Snow White, 200 million. Already beat it. Yeah, and the budget too, compared to the budget. Like Sinners is a hugely successful movie. Plus, so what was the budget for Sinners? Wasn't that
Sinners was a little higher, but they shot that on 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
In a few, and they put it out on a few different formats. I think the budget is somewhere between 90 and 100, but
okay, so not a cheap movie, yeah.
No, but
nowhere near as Snow White, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much made its money back now for the most part. Yeah. I mean, as far as like movies that have been the bigger successes of the year, like look at something like Final Destination. That movie only cost $15 million to make.
That's a huge ROI, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Horror is just so big now. Would you say horror is probably the biggest niche genre?
Well, it always kind of has, but it's never gone away. Everybody likes to say horror's back. It's like it's never really gone anywhere. It's just usually it plays better under either certain circumstances as far as like the environment we live in, and or if there's nothing else out there, that's when all of a sudden a horror movie will take the top spot. Right? Like it's just unless you get like a Halloween 2018 or a Megan, that's a rarity, but like I mean,
Megan,
other times,
You don't have to do homework to go see a horror movie. You know what you're
Usually,
getting. You're walking in there to see some, crazy, wild, horror, goop fest.
The Conjuring
or whatever,
franchise is one of the most successful franchises we normally don't talk about, believe it or not.
Oh, that's a big one, yeah?
Yeah, because of all the spin-offs and sequels they have. Yeah,
okay.
And I think they've got a new one coming out this year, too, I think.
Wow.
But, I mean...
that's the story of the Warrens, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so they came to talk at UConn, and that's one of the things as a good old Catholic boy that the possession stuff, like just even mention it gets me scared and freaks me out. So my roommate went to see the Warrens, and he told me all about Annabelle, and just him telling me about it because I was too much of a wimp to go see the Warrens speak in person, and him telling me the stories because he was so freaked out. Like I almost couldn't sleep. I'm like, I'm a grown guy in college, and they're like the Conjure. I like kind of want to see it, but I don't know if I can handle it because I'm a wimp. I'm a total wimp. So they've done. You're right. Yeah, they've done very very well with those. Yeah.
That's the other thing is the subgenre thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Accountant 2. Well, I guess it'll hit 100 million. Is that a money loser? Accountant?
It's made for Amazon, so I don't think it really matters all that much.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Working Man too. That one's done very well.
But that's the thing. Like back then, that movie would have done maybe 100 million or whatever. The box office. Then everyone would want to go buy it, right? Because it's
it has
Netflix. No one's going to buy this movie on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, or very few, right? Would go buy that.
I don't know. I might even already be on Amazon. I don't know yet. I haven't looked.
I don't think it is, but
how long has it been since it came out? Because It's supposed to be on there eventually here. But no, like, yeah, that's the biggest problem. The biggest problem. Yes, some people gripe about the costs and this and that and the other, but the thing that most people have told me, the consistent thing is, why would I bother? Yeah. When I don't, because most people aren't like us. See, like, I get it. We're the niche nerds. We want to be the first one to see something, right? So we can go tell our friends and then la da la da. Most people don't give a shit if they see Sinners on opening weekend. They don't give a shit if they see the Minecraft movie on opening. Like, you know, Lilo and Stitch, and Minecraft might not be a very good example because that did very well, but Lilo and Stitch is another good example of things that people will get off their butts to see. But when you're talking about an eighth, yeah, and when you're talking about an 8th Mission Impossible film at this point, you pretty much know what you're getting into. Yeah, and the demographic was pretty much mostly men, older skewing, very few women. So the men showed up for Tom. It was the women that didn't this time out. But everybody was going to see.
I heard there was an extended volleyball scene in this one. Yeah.
See, and 6 is not wrong. See, it's like it all. I hear a lot of people gripe about the price of movies. It's like, well, where are you going to see them then? Because if you go to see it in bigger cities, yes, you'll run into that all the time. But like me, I got options to where if I go a certain way or certain directions, I can see a movie for about $10.
You go see the first showing, right? You know, you say what's the?
It doesn't even necessarily have to be matinee.
Matinee, thank you. Yep. You know how much it costs to go see? If I want to go see a movie now on the Dolby Digital. Let's see, what's
probably 25 bucks a ticket.
I think it's 20. Yeah, I think it went up to 24.
See, and that's the thing is, I know some people that are complaining is because, well, yeah, of course it's going to cost you $100 to take a family of 4 to IMAX, right? Like, I get that, but if you're not taking everybody to IMAX and you're just taking the kids to see Lilo and Stitch in its regular old theater, it's not going to cost that much.
Yeah, the only way to avoid the $100 is to hit a matinee. And nobody gets any drinks or popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, I get that to a point or two, but that was kind of like, see me, I even have the option. I can go see brand new first run movies for $5 a piece if I want to go see them in my little shit box theater down here.
Yeah, see, there's nothing around here like that.
See, and I get that, and I know some people their options are limited. Mine are the opposite. Like, I got options that are cheap shit options, but if I want to see something in a good quality, then I got to drive about an hour and I got to pay the same price you guys do.
That's annoying to drive an hour too, yeah. But like AMC, I know Paulie does that AMC club or whatever they call it, where you get to see 3 movies.
Those are always work out for
Premiere.
people, especially if you live near a theater and you can see movies often. I'd suggest something like that, yeah.
So that is a good. And I remember like we had some of my parents' good friends, like that was their thing, going to movies every week, or even even during the week, you know, after they retired and they had that years ago. They had that where you can get like a package locally to go see all the movies for really cheap. So, but now, like you said too, it's the effort to go to the movie theater. It's just like you just stay home and it's all at your fingertips. So, it's much easier to do. You know, you don't have to do it, but like, with Lilo and Stitch, you want to take the kids out to have a great time, and they're gonna love going to the movie theater.
I get it. There's some
you enjoyed it, right?
Some issues with it, but I thought it was fine for the most part. I didn't think there was anything overtly woke in it. There is some debate to be had about how the film ends and what happens there, but I think people are just.
You thought they were overreacting on that one?
Overreacting a little bit, and it's not so much that they're overreacting; it's that they're misrepresenting it, because I didn't like it that much either. Like, that's as far as I was concerned, that was the worst part of the film. Yeah. But other than that, the film is almost verbatim the original film. So it's kind of like, I don't understand what people want sometimes, because it's like, if this was a 1-to-1 complete remake, everybody be bitching like, what's the point? And since they did change a few things, people are like really trying to find things to complain about.
Well, I still say, what's the point? But
yeah, no, I agree.
That's the original film.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Perfectly good.
There's a million other things I could find to bitch about than the ending of this film, right? Like, look, I get it, and I understand some people's concerns and gripes about it, but it's kind of more realistic. And from somebody who is a writer, or was a writer at one time, I mean, I technically still am, but I mean, as far as who actually used to write stuff like this, I guess you could say. To me, it's it makes sense from a writing standpoint. You wanted to add some more character to Nani. And I know everybody gets a knee-jerk reaction. They're like, well, what's wrong with her character before? Nothing for an animated film. But as I've been stumping people and they can't really come back to me with anything other than tangential things, is tell me who Nani is in the original film.
You don't know. She has no.
Exactly.
Well, she's a waitress. Well, she's a waitress, right? She's
exactly. You can tell me things that she does, and
just all to try to keep Lilo. Not she has to have a job.
Yeah,
Mr. Bubbles.
It's all surface level shit, right?
Or work in a grocery store. Wasn't she working in a grocery store? Or,
she couldn't keep a job, and yes, that was her whole thing. Is she couldn't keep a job. She was kind of irresponsible in that respect, but
fired,
she was constantly struggling with Lilo, and But as far as her personal character, the only other thing we get about her personally is she kind of likes David. That's what we know. But clearly she keeps her distance because of obviously the Lilo situation, right? That's what it is. In this movie, for better or worse, and I understand why people don't like it, they gave her a character. Not only that, they actually made her feel like a realistic 18-year-old. And this is where I don't understand why people are like, well, she's a girl boss all of a sudden, and Ohana means nothing, and she just wants to get an education. It's like, well, hold up, time out. First of all, she loses Lilo, right? She does technically lose Lilo in the movie.
In the original animated too, right?
At first she does, but then when Bubbles figures it all out, then he looks the other way. In this version, what happens is, to keep it kind of succinct and quick, she is told you have to get the house cleaned, keep a job, and have insurance for Lilo by the end of the week.
Okay.
So just like in the original film, they have the scene where she almost drowns and she winds up in the hospital. Well, oops. Nani didn't get fucking insurance like she was supposed to. And this is compounded with a bunch of other things throughout the movie that's kind of showing her as a
so when she almost drowns, they take her to the hospital? Okay.
And basically the social worker's like, look, you're kind of stuck in a decision. I have to make a decision here. You can let the state take over, and then it comes up that the neighbor lady, who is David's either aunt or grandma or something like that, they never really say in the movie, and she's kind of hovering around the family anyway, like a grandmother to everybody. She says she'll take Lilo, which would make everything easier, and you can still see her whenever you want and all that kind of business.
Get your education, and then...
But they don't bring up the education necessarily right away so much. I mean, it's there because that's the whole thing, is she made a sacrifice in this version that they don't bring up in the other version. And that was kind of what I was getting to, is they build her character throughout. And this version also asks more about what changes the dynamic would be like if you have mother versus sister, right? And I think that's what most people are upset about, is that they dive more into this idea, because even Lilo says at one point, I liked you better as a sister than I did a mother. Right? So that's kind of where they're at with their relationship.
That's in the animated too, isn't that?
Kind of, but in the animated version, like, my thing is with that one, and I keep trying to explain to people, is like, Nani is just kind of there to service Lilo's story and Stitch's story throughout. In this version, for better or worse,
she has no character growth. They
gave her a past, they gave her a possible future, until that future came to a screeching halt. And then after this decision and is made, because she was so immature and she didn't and irresponsible and didn't get done what she needed to get done, that's when everybody encourages her to go back to school, because she had a full scholarship ride that she gave up. Right. Okay, so in a way, you look at it, she's actually going to make a better future for her and Lilo, is what she's doing. You could look at it that way. You don't have to look at it that way. But people saying that she gave her up for an education, to go to college, it both sounds stupid, and it's misrepresentative of what's in the film in the first place. Because first of all, I don't know any parent in their right mind who, if they had an opportunity to go to free college and get a better education and a better job to take care of their kid, especially if they were a single parent, wouldn't do it. You're insane. Because I am a father of a single parent. Yeah. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Lilo is very, very young. It's not like Lilo is 16 and Nani is 19 and I'll work for 2 years and then I'll go to college in 2 years, and and then you can go to college. It's she's got a long haul. Then of course I haven't seen the new animated the live action version, and Six and Red have a question too about, I guess, making this movie. But I think we're talking about on Midnight's Edge, where I think making this kind of makes sense in terms of, you want to animate, have CGI and animate Stitch, and it just seems like it's a new dimension to the film. It doesn't take away from the original. I just
some
watched the
people
original
will feel
again.
like it will, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a charming, great classic, modern classic by Disney, but I just kind of something about the CGI Stitch. It just looks like fun, and I think it is like printing money. Do they need to make this? No, but I hear the actress is really charming. The other thing that I looked up after we had Midnight's Edge was there was a big controversy over not the actress that played Nani. People were complaining that they were whitewashing the character because she didn't look native enough. There were some articles, and I think that's died down now. But
did you
remember seeing that, Tom? Or
there's been so many weird things coming after this movie, and look, maybe that's why I'm sticking up for a little bit more, or I feel more sorry for it, or something. I don't know what to say, because I'm a huge fan of the original, right? And if anything, I should probably fall into the camp where normally, and I've even been yelled at for this too, where I probably would normally be a little bit more critical of this movie, but maybe I expected worse out of Disney to the point where I'm like, well, it wasn't woke. I don't like the ending, but I understand it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand what happened. I understand from a writing standpoint, you got to make Nani a more realistic character. And if she's actually given this opportunity, I would take it too, right? Like, but she didn't take it, and now she has the opportunity to take it to better their lives and whatever. There's all these other aspects and things you could get into it, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it still ends up basically in the same place as the other one, and who knows where it's going to go from here if they decide to do sequels.
Yeah, and you as a character too, you turn that down. Like my grandmother, she was born in 1910, but in the 20s, one of a benefactor, she was working doing upholstery, sewing, seamstress, and one of the wealthy ladies that she worked for said my grandmother was uber smart, skipped a couple of grades, and they offered her a free ride to go to college, and their parents at the time, immigrants from Italy, said, no, women don't go to college. You can't go to college. You have to stay home, and you'll get married and, have a husband. And she always resented that, I think, because she had the opportunity to free ride to college. So, it's not easy to get, of course, back then it was, much rarer, of course, but you've got that opportunity in life, and sometimes you just gotta take it. So without having seen the movie, the new movie, but it's something that that'd be very tough to turn down too, and maybe even Lila would regret that too, especially if you get to see, if they get to see each other.
They technically do. I don't want to spoil how, but and even Lilo says that basically she says it in a way that her parents, like, that was one of the last things that they had said to her, was that they want her to go to college, right?
Okay.
So yeah, and again, the way it's presented in the film, it's not exactly the way I think a lot of people are presenting it out there in the public. And I wish people would just go see it for themselves, because that's the other thing, is a lot of people are just running with this. And it's like, okay, yes, technically some things of what you're saying are true, but you're leaving out a shit ton of context, right? And look, as a parent, one of the biggest things about being a parent is being responsible. And that's one thing that the first original film didn't really get into too much, and this movie does, right? And some people are bitching about it and stuff. It's like, well, this means Ohana means you can just dump your family. It's like, she's not really dumping her family. I get what you're saying, but she's also a very immature and irresponsible character. So how is that being a girl boss at the same time? Because everybody's like, oh, so you can do that because, women have the feminine. It's like, you pick one or the other. I know you're trying to make it woke. I'm not saying you can't say it's bad. I'm not saying that you're not wrong or anybody's wrong or right in this situation. I'm just saying you got to pick your poison here. It's like,
and sometimes some certain things you just we're so sensitive now, and I don't mean in a bad way, but just you're so attuned to it that like the new Doctor Who, we're not going to talk about that tonight. I was going to briefly mention, but just like one of the six. Yeah, my grandmother passed away like 20 years ago. So yeah, that was they tell her to major in gender studies. They didn't have that back then. Well, fun. All right, you mentioned that. I gotta always bring this. My grandmother called me one night. I've said this before the show, and Mark, there's two naked women on my TV and they're kissing. I don't understand what's happening. And my friend Rob was with me. God bless Rob, is no longer with us. He's like, tell your grandmother we'll be right over there to help her fix her TV. and she had gotten signed up for like the salesman had signed her up for the packager. She got every channel.
Oh,
I just remember
Lord.
calling me like, I don't understand. Why are they kissing? They're kissing each other and they're naked. Yeah.
I don't necessarily want you to change it. I just want to know why. No,
Yeah. So Rob and I went over there right away to. You should have heard my mom yelling out the cable company that Monday or whatever. Yeah. So it was one of the fun. Oh God, it was fun. But now I got distracted. What was it? What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about Lilo and Stitch and video and all that other business. But
yeah, I was trying to
naked
women.
naked
women. Yeah. I forgot where I was going to go after the naked women. I'm still
that'll
remembering.
usually throw you off.
That threw me off. Yeah. And hail to Lisa. Yeah. Well, why did Granny? Because I was a TV guy. I was always the geek and the nerd, and I was always tweaking with the TV. I got in trouble for playing with the color settings on the TV and messing with things. I was always into that. Always into that stuff. So she said, I don't understand. I guess the picture her voice, God rest her soul. I don't understand. Why are they kissing each other? What's going on? Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah. Oh, but college. Yeah. So she had the opportunity to go to college. Yeah. Way back when. So yeah, we haven't listened to cable networks. Yeah. So for your dad and mom was
I didn't think the movie is as bad as some people are making it out, but
you enjoyed it, right?
Great. As far as the remakes go, I'd say it's probably one of the better, if not the best, of the remakes. Not that necessarily has to exist, but I'm not surprised it's doing as well as it is. I was
a kids movie.
One of the people predicting it that was going to do very well. I know some people are like, "Well, is the controversy going to be a problem next week?" I said, I don't think so, because to be honest, I don't think anybody outside of our sphere, the Diz nerds, are really talking about it all that much. I happened to had the opportunity to ask 3 separate families that got to see it this weekend that aren't in our nerd sphere or Diz nerds or anything like that, and they all enjoyed it. They had 0 issues with it, not one issue with it. Yeah, they all loved it. The kids want to see it again in most cases. So, I mean, the kids ate Stitch up, right? Like, I mean,
loved him probably, right?
Yeah. Like the one kid was all upset because they didn't get one of the popcorn buckets because they were sold out.
Yeah. And they're crying. Yeah. So, I know what I was going to mention was, the Doctor Who. Sorry, I know we want to erase that, but this latest season, there was an episode where they, brought back the previous companion, and then she's got a boyfriend that's she meets. Like the basics of the story were really well done, but then they've got to just pound you over the head with modern day politics and making a comment on the internet and streaming and free speech and misinformation, and it's just the way the dialogue is written. It's just so bad. It's just hard, and it just pulls you right out of the episode. And it's just it looks like Doctor Who is going to get canceled or put on hiatus now. It's not even worth talking about. But like I'm watching the episode, I'm like, oh well, this may be is actually the basics of the story, because Cutie's not in it basically. So and you're watching, and all of a sudden the episode flips, and they got to throw in all the modern day politics and why things are horrible. And it was just a shame that Millie Gibson's in this episode as a previous, and it kind of was a nice tie into have what happens to a companion after the Doctor leaves you. And it's just a shame that that episode was just so pitiful. Just when they've got to hammer you with the politics of the end. Yeah, so you're watching Doctor Who, or you're saying this. Well, I watch it so you guys don't have to. Yep. And just I don't know why you're right, but it just if I want to talk about it once in a while, I want to watch it. But yeah. And Lisa, stop being funny. I need to get stuff done. Yeah. So and Rob says my fiance's grandkids love Leo and Stitch. I'm sure they want to see this one. Yeah. So Doctor Who is just it's just sad. They don't know how to write, and so I guess we're all kind of sensitive. Maybe things you would have ignored, or just compartmentalized or not noticed, or maybe kind of groaned at, like, oh, I can't believe they threw that in. But they just over the top with modern day politics, especially in science fiction. It's just not not going to age well. Yep. Yeah. When Doctor Who first ended, I don't recall any fan resent for Sylvester McCoy. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a shame how Doctor Who has gone down. But why don't we? It's getting late, and I got to get to the parade in the morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
so
I should have been
we
out of
better
here
go.
half hour, 45
Yeah,
minutes
we should.
ago.
We had some. We always have so much fun. But
Yeah.
so we'll get out of here very quickly, I promise. But I want to thank Tom for popping in, of course, and spending didn't just pop in, spent a lot of time here. And
R2.
Thank you to R2, yeah, on Star Wars Day, real Star Wars Day. So we had a great, God, it was great to have you here. And let me thank my channel members. So let me do that, read all my channel members off here. So I want to thank everyone for helping to support the channel. So let me pull that list up. So in no particular order, we've got Wes Cagle, the aforementioned Professor R2, Philip Story, Dadman Walking, The Mandalorian, Stark of Iron, Nick Weiser, Shooter the Emu, DJ Ronnie G, RobAltis, RRTNZ, Max Redstone, Christian DeLorme, 70s, Rock Fan, Dave C, Andy Derivative Jill, JT Kirk, The Great Wrench, Eric K, and Brian Hepburn. So thank you so much, everyone, for helping keep the channel alive here, and helps me out with purchasing some of those toys I review and pay for some of that filament and things. And
yeah, we want to make sure you can afford.
Nerds.
We want to make sure you can afford that Doctor Who Barbie that just came out.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get that. That looks awesome. Yep. So let me also, we'll just roll back just a quick little bit in the chat here. Of course, good night to the Timey Wimey Limey 6, and thank you 6 for that super chat. You didn't have to do that, much appreciated. Thank you 6. RobAltis is here, of course. Oliver Belmonte, Lisa, thank you Lisa. E-Clay and Brian Hepburn again are active in the chat right now. Oh, and then Darth Vader. We had so much fun with Darth Vader on Late Night Fortnite. I got Darth Vader to talk about clam pizza. So I got to do some clips here. But there's AI Vader in Fortnite. It's freaking hysterical. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. But we had a lot of fun the last Late Night Fortnite. And I also got him to talk about Star Wars and Star Trek. He was dissing Captain Kirk. So here's the link for that last fortnight. So go catch it. At least so we had fun with Mandalorian and the whole gang there. Let me throw that video in. But God damn, it was. I got to clip some of that. I was going to show some of that tonight, but it's too late now. So, but Vader is freaking hysterical. So, all right, everyone. 6 has got a question. Have you thought about reigniting Saturday Night Star Trek? Well, I'd leave that as is, because that was Clobby and Raquel's thing. And actually, they talked about, like, they said, oh, Mark, we thought about asking you to be on the show. And I said, well, even if you had said, asked me to be on the show, I probably would have said no, because that was their special thing together. And I loved popping in there in the end. And I was backstage and I was helping with the clips, and I'd pop in there. But what I did talk to Mike before he passed, we were talking about, what happens when we finished all the episodes, because we'd calculate it out. Enterprise is only 4 seasons, so I think it would have been finished. But we had a date on the calendar, and I said to Mike, "Oh, why don't we do like a deep dive onto, like, pick an episode you love, like Mirror Mirror, or like why don't we do like a 3-hour show on Mirror Mirror?" He's like, "Oh, buddy, yeah, I love that idea." So I've been toying with the idea of like picking some of my favorite episodes and just doing when I have the time, doing like not every week, but once in a while, doing like a long deep dive. And I do a lot of research on the episode, do a slideshow like I love to do. So maybe down the road I'll do something like that. And Jill's actually doing that during the day now. She's doing she does pick some episodes to review. So Jill does, but yeah, it'd be fun to do with Jill, and just you can always
I would eat that up, Mark.
Dive. You would eat that up,
I would eat
okay?
that up.
So would love that. Yep. So let's get on out of here. I know Tom had put it like he said. Now I'm seeing the private chat that he should have gone.
Yeah, I actually got to run here. So
yeah, so go out. See you later, Tom. I appreciate it, and catch Tom on Midnight Sedge. Everyone knows where everyone is.
Morning show. Yeah,
yeah. So everyone, enjoy your Memorial Day. Remember why we have it, and before we go, one last clip here, because you always need toast when you wake up in the morning, right?
Would you like some toast? Some nice hot crisp brown buttered toast.
All right, everyone. So have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the holiday, and we'll catch you on the next Sunday Night Geekery. Take care, everyone. Bye. Now if I can find where's that confounded outro? Here it is.
Fun storming the castle.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.